Hello, fiends, and welcome to the Monster Party Podcast, now a part of the Fangoria Podcast Network. For more information about the network, including other programs, how to follow the show, and find past episodes of Monster Party, please visit fangoria.com. And now, it's party time. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the basket of screams that is the podcast called Monster Party.
Monster Party! Monsters! Monster Party!
It's happening again.
It is. It's a monstrous, great evening.
Gathering of friends and tales and stories.
And who are you, sir?
I am Matt Weinhold.
I am SHAWN SHERIDAN.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James GONIS.
And we have, I think, a topic.
No, we have a topic.
We have an incredible topic.
Yes.
And the topic that we've chosen, at least,
Yes.
is worst horror and sci-fi cliches.
Ah,
Or tropes.
Yes. Worst horror sci-fi cliches.
Yes.
Or tropes.
Things that we're just so tired of. We see them again and again and again, and
Yes.
it's like enough already.
And you've brought us an
I
amazing
brought you
guest.
the jewel in my crown of friends.
That's what I hear.
That is correct. Yes. A man that I've known for ages. We've done comedy together. He's been on every show that you love.
Yeah.
The one with the videos, right?
You mean
And,
America's Funniest Home Videos?
America's Funniest Home
No,
Videos.
no, I don't think that was.
No?
No, that's the wrong one. That's the one that's not good. There's another one that's really good.
Yeah, Totally Hidden Videos.
Totally.
have you ever had a guest walk off at the beginning during his intro? Why do you let me intro myself and then?
Mark,
who is your friend? Who
it's
is
Mark Pitta, ladies and
Oh! I used to host Totally Hidden Video and Friday Night Videos, and I was on many shows.
Yes, that's
Cool.
right.
Tonight Show with both Johnny and Jay, which means I'm funny and old.
Yes.
Yeah, you got the whole
Cool.
collection.
He is funny and old.
He is funny and old.
And for our listeners, they're in for a real treat.
Well, we are in for a treat, but a little backstory about tonight's topic.
Oh yeah.
So I originally pitched this idea as worst horror and sci-fi tropes, thinking
Right.
everybody knows the word trope. Mm-hmm. And so I pitched this to Mark, and this is all done through text. And so he comes back
you
to
didn't
me.
call him?
I didn't call. We have an understanding.
And by the way, just to interrupt
Sure,
right here,
go.
when I use speak text, sometimes things get
Oh.
misunderstood.
Right.
Because
That's
I don't
true.
check to see if it was spelled correctly. So I thought you said horror sci-fi toupees.
Which
And I thought, what a strange topic.
that is not a bad
Very
topic. though.
No,
specific
no.
topic.
That would be a really good topic.
We're not
I mean,
doing two
It would
pennies.
start and end with Shatner, right? It'd be like it would come full circle. I think we should go with that.
No,
I like-
no. This is a really
Fuck
good.
my topic.
No. It's,
Yeah.
it's a good topic.
Yeah, it's a good. It's
trope
fine.
is
But
kind of-
anyway,
it's not a common word.
No, I guess not. But Mark just found out, 15 minutes ago, what the topic is.
Oh, this is gonna be a great
And so,
Which means they're going to be just astounded how quick I adjusted.
yeah,
Exactly,
no,
yeah.
that's
Exactly.
true.
because you're a professional, sir.
Yeah.
And you've done tons of shows. You're Mr. Hollywood.
Just-
You're ready to go.
Just as long as this show is 13 minutes tops, we're good to go.
All right.
No, and let's face it, with cliches, that's something you can jump right in on because that's something that
Yes.
we've seen over and over and over again, and we're all we're sick of them.
Well, I mean, the movie Scream basically was a treatise on treatise.
That's a coffee shop at North Beach.
Okay, no.
Tortoise?
Now, for the listeners, so cliches, something you've seen over and over in any science fiction or any horror movie.
But I would say that sometimes, you kind of welcome the cliches.
They're not always
kind of
terrible,
comfortable.
and
yeah,
sometimes it's situational too.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
if the whole movie is great, here's a more modern one that I'm really tired of, and yet I saw it in one of my favorite movies, The Descent. But it's like in a nightmare sequence, but it's like that thing, that thing where like somebody is running down a hallway
Someone's running down a hallway.
and the lights are going off behind them as they run.
Right.
And I've seen that now in so many fucking movies.
You mean
And
like
it's-
blinking? kind
No,
of?
no. It's like as you're running down the hallway, the lights turn off behind you.
Which is how they start Strange Things, the Netflix show.
well, that's not a surprise.
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things.
Well, there you go. There you go, everybody.
It's one of Matt's favorites, actually.
I've watched 4 of the episodes, and so far I think it's fine.
I watched them all, and my feeling was this was good if I was 8.
Oh,
Thank you.
Because there was a
yes.
Goonies feel to it.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've watched the entire series as well, and I gotta say, guys, it's one of the most derivative shows
Oh my God.
I have ever seen.
Wow, we've almost. I think I
Wow.
like it more than you now.
Wow. Sean Sheridan.
Let me tell you something. Okay,
Tell us.
I know let me just get off topic.
Because
a
we
little
are.
bit.
No, this is
'Cause
on topic.
yeah.
It's cliches.
Yeah.
There's something in the water that people are drinking because I do not understand this.
For you listeners, Matt just did a spit take, but
my
this
friends.
is a podcast.
For my friends.
not since probably Twin Peaks. When Twin Peaks came out, have I seen this kind of water cooler sensation around a show?
Yes, I
mean,
agree.
And I'm like,
No.
But don't
Very-
confuse it with
Yeah.
the originality of Twin Peaks.
no, I'm saying is Twin Peaks deserved
Don't let me-
deserved all the
Finish your-
accolades.
Has there ever been a fist fight in this monster
No.
party?
I have been
yet.
waiting to see Sean Sheridan just get the shit kicked out of him for all the bullshit that he
Finish,
talks about.
finish your thought.
Okay.
Don't just ignore him. Finish your thought.
When this show came out, I swear like about a dozen people told me that I have to watch this show. This show is
me too.
fucking amazing. This is the second coming of television.
Okay.
I swear to God.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I cannot believe how much hype, how much gushing praise this show has gotten.
And isn't it harder when somebody you respect says that to you, and you're like, "Oh
Yeah,
my God, my smart friend's an idiot."
Well, no, but
Not an idiot, but
yeah, but I literally I would see,
That
I would
mu- you
hear
like it that
people
much?
people walk down the hallways and I hear people talking about it. I'm like, what is it with the show? This was like eight episodes, right?
8 episodes.
The show is not a badly made show. It's a well made show, but
Well acted for the most part.
Yeah, but people listen to everybody.
Like they've never seen a
There
show
are-
before.
There are, believe it or not, there are other TV shows and movies that were made before Stranger Things, and Stranger Things is not the end-all be-all of genre television. Everybody who has seen the show and is raving about it, have they read or seen The Mist? Have they read The Body or seen Stand By Me? Have they read or seen It? Have they seen E.T.? Have they seen Super 8 for that matter?
You're not going to
They're-
list every
they're-
fucking movie that you've ever seen.
But no,
right?
but that's what everything that Stranger Things is.
Listen, okay.
It's a mishmash
Sean.
of.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, Larry. This show is like it is The Mist with one monster instead of a bunch of monsters. That's
Wow.
what the show
Ouch.
is.
I like
If
it.
you can
I
get
like
through
this
the-
new Sean Sheridan.
I'm not, but it's well made.
Oh, he's not
It's
done.
well, but it's not. I don't understand the whole kind of. I just don't get it. Like
This was a great one for cliches. Then,
Yeah.
Yeah, if this show was,
I don't get it.
so far as a guest, doing pretty good.
Yeah, you threw that out there like not even. Yeah. you
Yeah, I'm
didn't
just-
even,
I'm
like
didn't
a
even-
frisbee,
didn't
baby.
even flinch.
I know. I'm just
but
waiting
like,
for Sean to finish his monologue here. Come on.
let me finish this. If this
Yeah,
show,
I'm waiting.
There are a lot of Netflix.
Patiently.
There are a lot of good Netflix shows that people have never heard of. If this was one of those shows that nobody was talking about, I would have said, "Yeah, this is not a bad show. It's pretty derivative. It's okay. It's not that great." The '80s nostalgia thing to it. When the show started, I thought there was going to be a reason why it was set in the '80s. But no, it's set in the '80s for just the cheap nostalgia gimmick of being in the '80s.
A transcript of Sean's speech can be found at
And in conclusion,
And like I could go on about. I just
Yeah,
want to say
yes.
that
with an asterisk.
really?
I'm just really baffled.
No.
for the
You-
full monologue,
You say you're baffled, Sean.
Yeah.
There's nothing to be baffled about. I think it's obvious, Sean. You and Mark, you guys have seen tons of films. Mark
But
says
it's
he's
not-
no. He's old. He's seen a ton of movies, and it's like he's seen countless movies and television. And so what this is, Sean, it's a collection of all this stuff. Now listen,
Yes,
Sean,
yes, but-
Sean, I think it's offensive for you to actually tell people, "Oh, it's the worst thing I've ever seen."
Why is it offensive?
No,
Why is it
It's
offensive?
offensive because he's insulting people who really
He's
like
insulting the
Sean.
show.
No, Sean,
Yeah,
like
no,
you,
no.
I too have heard people just raving about it.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
You know, they haven't seen as many movies and television shows as I have,
but
and I understand the fact that they're excited about it and they're enthusiastic about it. perhaps, Sean, that'll turn them on to other stuff.
Well, yes,
You know,
I would like
maybe-
to think that people
So
have
don't-
a sense
don't
of history past a
chastise
couple
them.
years and see that there's just other shows. I mean, it just
As a
drives-
reminder, the topic is trope.
it just drives me crazy when people call this show like it's the most original thing they've ever seen in their life, and it's just it's
No,
not.
that's bullshit.
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
It's like I said, it's
Go
well
back
made.
and watch some old movies.
If you've never watched any of those, if you haven't watched the wonderful, beautiful E.T., or if you haven't watched it or something, I'm just saying, Sean, that these people they've had a sheltered life, and this is
Wait a minute, talk about insulting your viewers. Wait a minute.
I'm just saying, if they haven't seen a lot of that stuff, this is their
yeah.
time when they see it, and it's the first time they've seen it. Hopefully, now that you've brought up stuff, you've mentioned a bunch of other things like The Mist.
and not that those movies are perfect either, but I'm just saying that it's like the show is heaven sent.
Okay.
But let me-
listen to bring
Yeah.
it back. Bring it
Yeah.
back to our cliches. Were there a lot of cliches in there
Well,
that you?
I mean,
Well,
you
the
don't
first one,
want-
can I say the one that I barely got through the pilot
Yeah.
is the actors kept repeating each other's lines, which is lazy writing.
Yes.
It's Wednesday. I'm off today. You're off today? And that reoccurs so many times. I'm like, oh my God, they just...
Well, Mark, you don't do that in your real life.
I don't do that in my real life.
You see. I find that I actually do that. I
Well,
do. So
but
you
see,
know, I mean,
but you are the one.
yeah.
But
Let's pick on me.
The
There we
defense,
go.
the defense in that show is that they would just say it's an homage, it's a tribute
Yeah.
to all the other things.
Let's say something
Yes.
good about it.
You know-
they did do the parallel worlds very well.
Yes, the acting.
I felt
I
that
think
I
the
was
acting
in-
is
they-
good. Yeah.
Yeah, and
No,
I thought
it's
and I
not
thought
a-
the kids do a good job acting,
especially the
and-
girl, the young girl.
Yeah, the
plays
young
11,
girl's great.
Is great.
But every time they did any kind of sort of scare moment, I felt it was just taken from something else. And again, we've seen these things so many times. And I guess I'm wrong because no, the answer is to get something popular, make something that everyone's seen before instead of trying something
You do it
new.
in a different way, Matt. I mean,
They
how is it in
don't
a different
really,
way?
though. They really don't. Even the girl 11 is taken from Scanners.
Or
Because it's supposed to be that-
Firestarter.
Can I just say
Firestarter, yeah,
something?
yeah.
I
Yes,
do have an
please.
answer to Sean's question. I think it's set in the 80s because a lot of it would have been harder to do if we had cell phones or
That's
technology.
possible. Okay,
If you
I'll
take
give
that
you that.
away,
That's
it's
true.
more old-fashioned.
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
trivia, it was shot an hour from where I live now. I live in around Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
And it was
Okay.
shot in Jackson, Georgia, which it's supposed to be taking place in Indiana.
Yeah.
But that's where because it looked very wholesome and very normal and.
And that's like the new Hollywood too.
Oh yeah. Why? By the way, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I live in Atlanta now. And I go, well, maybe I could be a zombie in Walking Dead. Do you know there are 2 schools you have to go to learn how to walk like a zombie?
Oh my gosh!
You have to graduate first.
Are you kidding me?
No, they can't have their zombie. And then when I heard that, I go, then I have to be a zombie that has a close up. I don't want to be one of many
You
zombies.
want to be a background zombie when
no,
they do like the 50
I want to be the
people.
zombie that does something cool.
Oh, you want to be a
Right.
featured zombie?
Featured
Right,
zombie.
right.
I want to be the
Oh.
first zombie with sunglasses.
I would love
Let's
to
go to cliches in zombie films. Go, Matt. Now.
They run.
No.
They don't run, but
Aha! Yes,
But
you're
yes, they
right.
do.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Dawn of the Dead remake, they run.
And
That's
you know,
true.
it was
That's
totally
right.
illogical. It was stupid.
I'm
And you-
watching
and-
that in Tahoe with Dana Carvey, and they're running. For the first time I
Yes,
see zombies
yes,
running,
yes.
Dana turns to me and goes, those zombies are incredibly fit.
Yeah, that's
just-
great, Mark.
it's
But
just not
When
right.
I looked at that film, when they were right, you know what I said? I said, "Oh my gosh, those actors are running." That's what I said.
Yes.
And you said it out loud in the theater.
I was.
So you're saying zombie school is a good thing then?
I thought it was. I think the
yes.
fast zombies. Again, we're going to
No,
go down this road
no,
again.
I don't wanna
but
go down this road.
They
It's not
don't
a cli-
exist.
It's not a cliche.
They're made
It's-
up,
it's not
so
a
they can
cliche.
run.
It turned into a cliche when it was they ran. Now it's like, oh wait a minute, they beat the cliche of never running.
They can't run. It's illogical.
I'm trying to pull
No,
the
it's not
topic
illogical
back.
because they
Right.
don't. Because
Trying to pull the topic
if
back.
you're freshly dead and you still have muscles and you're now a zombie, maybe you can run. But
No,
then
you
as you
can't.
start to decay, then you can't run.
You can't
So you
run.
can have both.
You have to have cognitive thought. You have to think about what it takes to run, and a zombie can't do that.
So a hyena is going left, right, left, right, left, right as it runs.
Very fast. Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
The
It's
zombie
instinct.
Thing, no.
Here's
No,
a cliche I find interesting. If there's a love interest, there's a boyfriend and a girlfriend,
Yeah.
and they love each other, she's the one that's going to fall for the evil person, or the vampire is going to woo her away from the love trying thing.
I'll Fright Night.
Right.
True,
Night,
right?
yeah.
Right. She'll be seduced by the bad guy.
Even going back to like House of Frankenstein.
Yeah,
That kind of thing
and then
happens.
Oh, yeah.
and then you have to bring her back from her,
right.
her evil flirtation.
wayward, yeah.
Bring her back to the good side.
Repurify her.
Yeah. No, that's been done a million
Actually,
times.
Dracula. Mina Harker.
But isn't it?
Yeah.
But why is it that we love that so much? I mean, I'm a sucker for it.
Well, it's
you know?
classic
I
kind of
mean,
dramatic.
Well, it's redemption.
conflict,
Yeah, and I like that. And it's funny when you guys say cliches. I mean, I like these cliches if it's done right. There's some cliches that if it's not done right, it makes me mad.
And I think if there are a lot of cliches and you're used to them subconsciously, when somebody goes against the grain, and I don't know if there was any vampire other than that Count Yorga, where while there's a
God bless you for
cross,
saying Count Yorga.
where there's a cross in his face and he just laughs at it.
Right.
That's not done normally. That's beating a cliche.
Yeah.
Fright Night.
Same thing.
If you don't believe, if you don't have
You
You got to have
Faith.
faith
Got
for
that
that to
faith.
work on me.
because Chris Sarandon laughs at the
So
kid.
what you're saying is they took that from Yorga and made it
Possibly.
a new cliche.
yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Stole
Yorga rules.
Yorga.
Robert Corey rules.
That's right. That's right.
Well, if like for me, one cliche, and it's a very famous one. It's probably the most famous in just about every slasher film too. It's like when the female is running and she trips, and how I mean, even today in today's maybe not so sophisticated audience, they get mad at that because they go, oh, the girl trips. You know what? If it's done right, if the girl is booking and jumping over tires or something, and there's like a funky little cord that kind of was in the way, and it makes sense for her to trip, I'll buy it.
And then you hear, meow.
No. Because,
Don't get me started on that one.
it's funny because there is in one of my favorite films of all time that I love and adore and cherish, in Creature from the Black Lagoon, made in 1954, the lovely Julie Adams has a moment when she sees the creature, and gosh, it's the one moment in the movie that kind of pisses me off. And she turns, and it's like she's a beautiful, athletic person, she could leap over bushes and stuff. But
bushes.
Yeah, but what she does is she turns and it's almost like she force trips. It's almost like she just trips just on purpose. And
They
then
must
the
have
creature-
taught that at school.
no,
you know,
no,
you know what I mean?
There's
In the
supposed to be like a
acting
little
school.
route. There's a route down there, but and I think this girl, you see her swim in the Amazon waters.
Right.
She's fit, and it makes no sense for her to trip. It does, and she has great little shoes, athletic shoes. That I mean,
I will buy being frozen with fear, and then that makes you do something kind of stupid.
Right.
But it has to be done right. Like if
it's done
Yeah.
right.
And these days, I'm with you. I want to see every single thing that is tripping someone. I don't want it to just be a trip.
Not
I
a
want to
trip.
see a cedar block.
Yeah.
I want to see a rabbit.
And
Anything.
it's kind of like when if you watch the Olympics, Mark, because I know you're a big Olympics fan, right? So you watch the Olympics, and when they're the guys doing the hurdles, it's really hard to do those hurdles. You got to jump and leap and stuff. And there was one dude that went over and he hit one and it kind of went, and then the next one, hit it again and it made it kind of worse. This guy's trying his best. This guy's an Olympic champion guy, but he missed the hurdle. Now, I bought that. I didn't think that he was faking it or anything, but it's like in these movies, it's like when you watch them, if they're running and you're scared out of, they're like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. And they're running and you see it's real. It seems authentic. And there is something in the way and the trip or something seems real, then I will buy it and I don't mind it. It's the forced trip.
Well, there's also the cliche of the thing that they're running from, which sometimes isn't really even running after them. It's sort of walking, thinking like Michael Myers and slow zombies for that matter. I mean, you cannot run
but
the
somehow
mummy.
they get to them.
The
still.
mummy, you cannot
Right.
run
Well,
those.
and
things.
that's why, getting back to, just real fast, getting back to the fast zombies, that's why I thought that it was kind of refreshing to see a different take on the zombie thing, because my thing with the old walking zombies was walk a little faster. Just walk a little faster.
You'll be past
And
Which
you're
is a
fine.
mummy
No,
thing.
no.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
mummy,
Yeah, but
right.
the thing about the mummy, it's like, I can outrun the mummy. The thing is, the mummy will never stop. The mummy will keep going. When you've ran and you go, hey, I'm going to rest now. You're like,
But you see him coming up the
Although-
block.
No.
You could pack your lunch away.
But he would keep coming, Matt.
Yeah, but by the time he got to you, you'd be, okay, I think I should go now.
Christopher Lee's mummy was a little faster than
Yes,
everybody
that's my
else.
favorite
That was
Yeah,
a
that's
very
a good one.
intimidating mummy.
yeah,
that
it
was a
was,
great
yeah.
one.
Yeah, he was a little faster.
He was a force of nature.
Strong.
We're
very
gonna
strong.
do a mummy show. We'll
Yes.
talk about that.
But we're going to talk about the mummy now, Larry, because we're talking about the mummy.
I know. Well, okay.
It's like he has
Yeah.
so many of these. No, we're saving that for the prepositions show where don't use any. So
Oh.
All right, guys, how about this one?
You
This-
guys know each other pretty well, I take it.
No.
okay, this is a horror movie one that you still see to this day, in which I never understand. Okay, you're walking through a scary area where there's been a murder or there's a monster in here somewhere. Maybe you get a flashlight, you're shining down, you see something in the ground. You see a puddle of blood
Okay.
or a puddle of something, you know what it is, and you stick your fucking finger.
that's a good one.
Who does that? And they swish it around with their two fingers and they lift it up really close to their face. Maybe they smell it.
Sometimes
Who
they
does
taste
that? Who does that though? What would you touch any foreign substance with your bare fingers?
Okay, I will say something about this. Okay, now I
In your
look-
youth,
No, Sean. I was going to agree with you, but here's the thing: when I watch people do that, I always think, "Gosh, you are so much braver than I." That's what I think.
No, but it's always professionals
you
like
see-
detectives or cops.
Yes,
but-
yes,
no,
they're
you
braver
wouldn't
than you,
Get a
Sean.
fucking stick.
No, Sean, a
and stick it in and just like look at it.
What
with
if he
a
doesn't
stick.
have a stick?
Actually, in the Blob, the farmer had a stick, and that didn't help him.
That's true. That's
Nice,
true.
nice.
But you still
When you
still
talk,
wouldn't-
there's gold there.
we've
But
always
still.
said that.
I mean, you would not. You just wouldn't do that. You wouldn't stick your hand in something
Sean,
you know what it is.
I get it. You wouldn't, and I
Would you?
wouldn't.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I agree with you. I
Okay,
wouldn't do
good,
that.
yeah.
But you see, when I look at those people that do that, I say to myself, "Oh my gosh, you must be really, really brave."
Yes.
Or
Or dumb.
crazy.
But to us,
Yeah.
that is the cliche that brings us out of it because it's one, no one would really do that. Two, we're seeing it again and again and again.
Right. You still see that.
Yeah.
I mean, to
Oh,
this
yeah.
day, like
Mark, what
even
do you
in
think?
modern movies.
Well, I was. This prompts a question. It's a question. Is this a cliche? Because you said when I was a kid, I think I was sick home from school, and I believe it's the Atomic Brain came on.
Atomic brain.
Anyway, it was the first movie I ever saw where somebody was shot with a gun and didn't die. And it
Creature
was,
with the
Creature
atom
with the
brain.
atom
He-
brain?
Creature Atom Brain, that's
Oh,
it.
yeah, yeah.
And he just
Love that
comes
one.
out. He comes out the screen like with the thumbs
Right,
in the hands.
right.
And that was and that mom. I didn't realize that
Right, right.
could happen. And then since then, a lot of people are shot and don't die.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it had to be some point where you started to see it, or like when you
More.
first started to see squibs, actual squibs in movies. You know, where you see the gun, the impacts. You know, you didn't see
You
that.
know
at
what a
first.
squib is?
well,
You had a weird look
in-
on your face.
Well, in
Yeah.
Harry Potter, it means a certain thing.
Oh, well,
so.
no,
Okay, but we're
you know-
not talking about
Yeah,
That's another party.
Yeah, it is. It is a different. But go ahead.
but
Go
yeah,
ahead.
like you start to see actual impacts on the clothing and the skin. You know, of a shot because you used to not see that. You just guys would just like clutch their chest and fall. You didn't see any kind of.
For me, that moment was Vincent Price, The Last Man on Earth.
Which obviously George Romero saw.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. He must have.
I
He
think
must
that's
have.
still
That's-
effective to this
That
day.
no,
Yeah,
it was actually it was creepier.
I should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he just walks over the bodies out in the front, and you're like, oh my god,
And they're just lying
they're
there.
just
Yeah.
lying there.
Yeah. And that is now that's a cliche. Now talk about a zombie cliche of the zombies coming in the house, crashing through the windows with the mismatched pieces of wood over the
Right,
window.
right,
you know,
right.
but that works for me every time. I never get tired of that.
Right.
It's a scary thing.
It's-
I mean, it's
To me, that's the most frightening thing of people coming into your home. Like I remember being when I would smoke a lot of pot back in my youth, and
Back when it wasn't medical marijuana.
yeah, before I had the card, and you,
Which is just a letter from a psychiatrist you lied to.
I'm tense. All right,
I can't sleep.
better. Life is pretty now. But yeah, you'd get in those paranoid moments where all of a sudden I'd get in a bad place where I'd look at the front door and I'd go, it wouldn't take nothing to knock down that door and just come after me.
When I watched the birds on TV for the first time, I'm not lying. It sounds like I'm lying just for your party. A seagull hit our window and just died on our porch.
Oh my god.
When I was watching the birds.
Wow. That's
I
awesome.
can. That's a memory I'll never forget. Like, wow,
messed
that
up.
is.
That's strange.
You have
Yeah.
powers.
I just don't know. Yeah, it was scary. I don't know. That's not a cliche, but
It's like an omen.
yeah.
Can I?
Oh, that's
can
another
I-
story.
Can
Is
I
there a
offer-
cliche in the Omen that you mentioned? The Omen. I've got to
Oh.
kill the Berber. Wait a minute. You have to be quiet here. Damien must die.
That, I guess the cliche would be that delivery. That's great.
It's all for you, Damien.
Why can't I meet a girl like that? All right, here's a cliche from me.
All right.
This is one, it's very simple. And it's one that film after film, even ones I like, I don't get it. And that is, look behind you.
Oh, well.
Or that's part of like walking backwards too.
Yeah.
You know?
Look behind you. Like, especially once you know the shit is going down. Like, already Jason's on the loose or whatever.
Yeah.
The humanoids from the deep are
Yeah.
attacking. And you know that it's a bad situation. That's when I'm jumping around.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
like John Belushi in Animal House, you know?
Okay, look,
like,
right. I have a
looking from every direction.
I have a question for you, okay? I mean, I understand. So your big issue, you know, the cliche is look behind you because they're not looking behind them. Is that
They're
your thing?
not looking behind
okay,
them.
now are you talking about
And then
like-
they get killed from behind.
I know, but Matt, is it because something has distracted them in front? Like,
No,
oh
they're
my
talking to
god, oh
their
my
friends.
gosh, oh my
We gotta
gosh,
get
there's-
out of here.
Oh my gosh, there's blood here. Maybe I should stick my finger in it and taste it or something.
You're
And
mixing
they're-
cliches now.
But I'm okay.
Which is,
but I'm-
which is very adventurous of you.
yeah, okay, but I'm just saying that is it because someone is distracted with something in front and then something gets them from the rear? Is that what it is?
If that were the case, I would buy it more.
So
like,
you're-
if they're being distracted, so like if something horrible is happening in front of them and then they get hit, like Aliens had moments like that where they're just coming from every direction.
Right,
You're like,
right.
you're fucked.
Right.
okay,
But when
Aliens
it's-
is great.
Yeah.
I bought everything in that.
And I'm saying that
Okay.
I buy that.
Okay.
That is a legitimate situation where it's coming from every direction. It's coming from under you.
But,
Right, right.
but if it's something like Friday the 13th or something like that, where
Right.
something
You
is
know-
it's a single. It's like, oh, I'm distracted by the beautiful breasts in front of me or something, and then
I
and then
look
all-
around more when I'm in a bad neighborhood than when I know that they're
right.
the living dead or walking the streets.
Also, don't stand next to any windows.
Oh, that's another one. That's almost hand in hand with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that one.
Well,
a great movie that I love, Dog Soldiers.
Okay,
There's this
Right.
scene where the guy's his back is up against the pane of glass and the werewolves are outside. And like, I wonder what's going to come through that window. Oh, there it is. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
And then you go, why?
Yeah,
It would
I
have
did-
taken a second to rewrite that.
yeah.
No,
scene.
and a lot of these movies have a large cast, so it's an ensemble cast. Now,
Yes.
what is the cliche? I'm putting to you people. And the ensemble
calling people?
cast. There's a cliche because it's an ensemble cast.
Okay.
The
All right.
cliche is one of them is always the funny one. There's always a comic relief
right,
character.
right.
Yeah.
Scream.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always
there's
the
always-
goofy guy, and
yeah.
he's going to get killed a little later because they need comedy because there's so much tension.
Right.
Right.
Now,
true.
isn't there's sort of a cross, because I was thinking about that too, which is with that ensemble, there's the funny guy, and then sometimes the funny guy is also the nerdy guy.
Yes,
Yeah.
good.
Yes.
But he can also
Where the humor
be-
comes from, yeah.
Right. The douchey guy. There's the douchey guy with the slutty girlfriend.
Or the sports jock.
Right,
yeah,
right.
who's an asshole. And that's always weird to me because usually the ensemble is there's like four pretty nice people, but then they've got these like ass bags
Yeah.
along for the vacation.
Yeah.
Like, how are you friends with these people?
Because that guy does their homework.
No. He's talking about the sporty guy. The sports.
yeah, the
guy.
sporty guy.
the
No,
quarterback.
You know
Yeah.
what?
Right.
You know what, Matt? I will agree with you. That did always bug me. It's like,
Why are they friends
I would,
with him?
I would never be friend. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't be a friend with a guy who's into sports, but some of the douchey guys.
mean. A
Yeah,
bully.
I mean,
Right,
yeah.
right.
It's like I would never go to a camping trip with someone like that.
And why would the nerdy guy go with the school bully on a camping trip?
Now, maybe
never
because
see that.
maybe he's in love with infatuated with the pretty girls who have the big.
But the
breasts,
pretty
perhaps.
girl always defends him to the hot guy friend.
Right.
Yeah.
The
He's
boyfriend.
okay. I've known him since I was 12, like that
See,
thing.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
already we're always talking. We're
It's
talking
the, it's
about
the
these
kind of
cliches,
cross section of archetypes that they kind of always
Right.
populate these movies with.
But one plot where it does work pretty well, and they use it to their advantage, is the movie Ticks.
Oh, that's a fun one. I like that one.
because that
yeah.
in that group, it's a bunch of juvenile delinquents,
Yes. Yeah.
and so
you're right.
they're thrown together. So it makes sense that each of them has a
Yeah,
different problem.
that's a good
and-
film.
Yeah, and that's a really great one. And who's the kid in that?
Seth Green.
Seth Green,
Yeah.
right?
Seth
From
Green.
Amy Dolan's is in that also.
that's right,
Amy
Yes.
Dolan's.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Seth
Dolan's-
Green.
Yes.
But Seth Green was not in Green Slime.
No.
Oh, we love green
I
slime.
love green slime. Love
you
it.
love green slime, right?
I love Green Slime.
Oh,
Green Slime?
I mean, the only thing about the cliche about that is I don't know. love that film.
Well,
I could watch that film over and over. There's
Me
something
too.
magical. And
That's another
wonderful.
topic. What film can you watch over and
Oh,
over
that's a good
again?
one.
Well, as a subgenre of this topic, I would have to say green slime. You know how like when you would watch a movie as a kid and you'd be waiting for the monster throughout the entire movie,
Yes.
and it would come at the end and you're like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Green slime was like, here's your monster.
Here's your slime.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're all over the place.
And not only do you get a slime, you get many slime,
Yeah.
and then you got
And they're
baby
violent.
slimes, and yes, they're wiggling their arm and they have
Burning
that voice.
people's faces off.
and it's awesome. I love it, and
It's an all-out monster mash.
Is it a cliche that the oldest guy in it, maybe he's in a wheelchair, say he's that old? Is it a cliche that guy's always, the head of the archetype, the head of the family? Not the archetype.
Archetype. The matriarch?
The matriarch.
No, the patriarch.
Monster Party is brought to you by tequila.
And the word trope.
He's always ornery. He's never a friendly guy in a wheelchair ever. He's always Ray Milland and Frog.
Yeah.
Then here's a cliche.
By the way, Ray Milland and Frog says, but sometimes you watch his legs are like moving.
are they?
He's like impatient.
Hey, let me
he
just.
can't help but want to get the fuck out of this movie.
Listen.
Ribbit.
And I just want to bring up. People forget Ray Milland, Academy Award winner.
Yes.
No one forgot
for
that.
frogs.
Okay.
For frogs.
No, he didn't win for frogs.
Did Joan Crawford win an award?
Trog! Hey, don't knock
Trog.
Trog. Hey,
We love
you
Trog.
knocked Trog.
No,
I love Trog.
I'm quoting
That is-
Academy Award winner who was
Yes.
also in a B sci-fi film.
And you know
Trog.
why?
Good topic,
'Cause
too, by the way.
She's a
Academy Award winners
professional. She's a professional. And
you
she
guys
did
want
a
to call me
great
for
job.
topics? I'm on.
No, I'm just saying.
That's my topic.
I'm not texting anymore.
Your ear is covered.
You know, in Trog, they actually have Trog play with a little Major Matt Mason toy. You remember that? Because the toy came out in the 1960s, and he's playing with a space toy. It's one of my favorite moments in the movie.
That's cool.
I just love her line reading. Trog!
Now, if we're going to talk about...
I've done Joan Crawford and Gregory Peck so far.
what else you got? Did you
Jay
write-
Leno was never in a sci-fi horror film.
Was he?
Yeah, these monsters that come out of nowhere.
Come on, one more.
Johnny Carson, was he ever in...
I wouldn't open that door because it's the only door we haven't opened, and it's we're on reel number 3.
For the listeners who don't know, Johnny Carson was
Are you kidding me?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
No, that's a good point.
Listen, you know, okay, you
fuck
see,
off.
It was on 30 years.
See, you're telling me to fuck off. Let me tell you something, sir. Jay Leno retired, okay? David Letterman, they're gone. People don't. A lot of kids these days, they don't know
Crazy
Johnny
kids.
Carson, who is
all they think
greatest.
about is Stranger Things. That's all they care
Stranger
about.
Things.
And you know
and
why,
Britney
Sean? It
Spears.
brings me back to my point because those kids haven't seen all those films that you have seen, Mr.
All right,
Encyclopedia.
okay. All right, I'm sorry. Explain who Johnny Carson is.
Another sponsor is Antenna TV.
Actually, all the kids who love Stranger Things tuned out about 20 minutes ago during Sean's monologue.
Yeah, thanks.
Probably.
By the way, can you cut his monologue down?
I will. Believe me, I will. Yeah. So, but now you're talking about the guy in the wheelchair, and that's kind of a 50s sci-fi cliche.
The guys in the wheelchair.
I'm asking if it is.
Oh my
I
God!
think so.
Oh my
I
God!
think
There's
so.
a
He's
lot.
always-
Yes.
The
he's
guy
always
that's
honorary.
When Worlds Collide.
Which is one of my favorites. I love
Right.
the guy in the
What's his
wheelchair.
face?
So
John Hoyt.
Here's the other one.
Rocky
Here's the
Horror
other one.
Picture Show has a guy in a wheelchair.
That's
but
right, that's
totally
right.
different, but
Here's the other one.
a lot of wheelchairs.
The guy who is in his maybe late 50s, and he's the romantic lead. Remember when that was a thing?
Oh yeah. Well,
And
that-
you didn't question it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you are about hitting retirement, and she is 23.
Sure.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Yes.
you're going to go make a life together for
Yes.
the next 3 years until you're shitting in a sack.
It's
At 61?
no. I know what he's talking
It's
about.
going to come.
I-
It's
no,
happening.
I-
it was a
I-
different time.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Back then. Yeah, they
Yeah.
didn't have.
Well,
Yeah.
we're talking about the 50s and 60s before the youth movement, and right. I mean, we're talking about like sci-fi and horror movies from the 50s and 60s where these archetypes
They were
were.
there were older generations playing the lead role.
And it always made sense. Well, it always like that. I understood. What threw me for a loop is when they started making kids the heroes in things. Because I was like,
Right.
no, I always respected my elders. I
Yeah.
was like
Right.
the guy who was the adult.
like
and he's
Charlton
taking
Heston
charge.
was the one who was in charge.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
He was the
Oh,
man.
not like a teenager.
Yeah,
it was
this
right.
guy who looks like he's barely shaved.
Right. I know it's
I
weird.
do like him shaved, my boys, but
Yes, you do.
that's another subject.
That is another subject.
Well, going back to
The wheelchair?
No, going back to kids hanging out together who might not normally hang out together, and high school students getting into trouble. This is one of the most common cliches, and an obvious one. But in slasher films, and this was probably started by Halloween, a couple of kids are horny, they have sex, they die.
Well, sure. This have sex and die trope
Right.
is in the slasher films is very common.
The words "I love you" is a death sentence.
Or they made
Or I want to
yeah.
fuck you. That's even worse. Yeah.
Or they made fun of this in Scream too, when the guy goes, "I'll be right back."
yeah.
you know,
and Cabin in the Woods. Too.
Right. And
Yeah.
of course they don't come back. Right.
And there have been a number of people that have written these articles about what it means, the idea that horror films are anti-sex or anti-women, or yeah. And I don't know, I see that as when you have two kids who are having sex, that's the most vulnerable you can be.
Right.
They have no clothes on.
Yeah,
And if you're making it for like a teenage market, kind of, I mean, you're trying to show them stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
Yeah.
something that
People
they
having
want.
sex
Titillation.
and being
Yeah.
right. It's
exploitation more than it is
Yes.
anything else.
Well, and there's also the influence of Halloween. But in Halloween, it's all just because all these other kids are popular and the Jamie Lee Curtis character isn't. And,
Right,
And that
right.
makes her sort of the ugly duckling, and she's the perfect heroine for that.
Right.
In all the ripoffs of Halloween that came later, it was just sort of an easy way to kill kids. you
right.
know?
It's true. How about this one? This is one that you probably saw more in older movies and TV shows, but you kind of still see it every once in a while. And that would be usually it's the weapon is a gun, and two people are struggling with the gun.
Okay.
And they're like embraced and almost hugging, and the gun is between them.
Okay.
And you hear a gunshot.
Yes.
And they're both kind of still staring at each other with like poker face.
You don't know who dies.
And suddenly one of them suddenly falls to the ground and shot. But like, if you're shot, you're gonna go, I just got fucking shot. You're not going to just stand there with this like blank
Lee,
face.
Lee Harvey
That's a great one.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, Lee Harvey Oswald never looked at Jack Ruby for a second.
See you in hell.
Right. But you
That's a
saw
great
that
one.
a lot, and sometimes it's with a knife, but usually it's a gun because you hear the gunshot, and
Yeah.
there's like a few moments they're just staring at each other, like, "Oh, what's going on?"
So that's a great
That
one.
never happens.
That's a
really good
cliche
one.
you don't like. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
well, yeah, it's just that you saw that like in like
yeah.
40s and 50s,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
TV shows. you know.
Sure. And in movies, you saw that too.
Yeah, you
and,
could
and,
see-
and,
yeah.
and you, so you didn't like that. You were.
Well, it's just
you
silly.
were offended
it's
by
not,
that. You
It's
saw
not
that a
realistic.
lot.
You're taken out of it when you see that.
Well, I just the idea though that like there was a whole turning point when it came to people being shot too.
Yes.
That I would love to know which movie it was where a guy got shot and went, instead of
And
just
fall backward. I think
Yeah.
it was Shane.
Is that right?
I think it was Shane.
But later on, one of the movies that really changed it, I think, was Bonnie and Clyde. Because when Bonnie and Clyde at the end, when they were ambushed and they were shot up in the car,
Yeah.
That's like
it's
the real
just-
deal, yeah.
It's just a bloodbath, and it goes on, and you see the squibs and the blood flying everywhere, and you see the car
Well,
getting hit
yeah.
up. But that, I mean, you may have seen some before that, but that really
There was a rule in Hollywood that you couldn't show a person die in the same shot as the gunfire. So you see the shot, then you see the guy get hit. But
Really?
you couldn't. Yeah, for a long time there was
Oh,
that. You
wow.
can't see the gun and the guy get shot at the same time in the same frame. I mean,
Wow.
yeah, that was, and then when that changed, when
Yeah.
Sam Peckinpah changed that.
Yeah, totally.
God bless him.
Okay, with guns, here's one that bugs me.
In a horror movie or sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this would be so you've got the guy who is chasing you and he's got a gun.
Okay.
And you use your weapon or whatever and you slit his throat or whatever, and then you keep running, you don't take the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you drop the weapon.
Yeah.
So
you
he
don't-
could
yeah.
get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Over
For
and
someone else.
over.
And
again.
even if you already have a gun
Okay.
and you kill another guy with a gun, wouldn't you take that gun too? So now you have two
Yeah.
guns.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody takes the gun. Take the gun.
Yeah.
Why aren't you taking the
or
gun?
any weapon? Like if Jason, you
Anything.
beat him with a bat one more time, and he finally falls down dead. You drop
leave
the, bat
the knife
there
in
next
him.
to him,
Yeah.
and run. You've already seen him get up 5 times.
Yeah.
You keep hold on to the
okay.
bat.
Now, see, now you get to another cliche that kind of irks me, and I buy it in one movie, but I don't necessarily buy it in the other. Okay, now with Halloween, as I'm sure
Right.
many of our listeners have seen the ending of Halloween, what happens where you have Michael Myers, he's shot and he falls over,
Right.
and he lands outside,
lands
so
in the
he's just
backyard,
falling a
right.
whole floor, like a whole floor.
Right.
Okay, that would kill anybody. Okay, and then a moment later, we see the body is gone. Oh my gosh! Now I could buy that because we don't know if he limped away. Okay, I don't know, and maybe he was shot in the shoulder or something. But what I don't get, what bugs me is the cliche when you kill the villain or you stab the villain, you keep the villain, and then oh my gosh, I've defeated the villain, and the villain gets back up, and he keeps coming back.
Well,
over
the
and
unstoppable
over and over
villain
again.
is something that happened a lot, and I thought about that too. And you know what? One film that I think
It spoils it. It spoils it for me, Sean.
But one of the first films I think that really did that whole like the monster is killed and then comes back and killed and comes back. Believe it or not, I think one of the first films to do that was Westworld.
Oh, well, okay,
Westworld,
that makes sense.
No, that's cool.
The-
Can I just
different.
okay?
The
Can I do?
That is
gunslinger.
different.
I think it's time for my Yul Brynner.
Yeah, please.
Are you looking at me, boy?
What? That was Yul Brynner?
Try
Well,
again.
remember he says that in
Yeah, he
in
doesn't say it
Westworld. He
like
goes,
that.
"Oh no, he's at the bar. He goes, you want something, boy?" He
There you
says it in a weird way.
Needs his mama.
You want something? Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But
God,
the
I love
thing
that
about-
movie.
The gunslinger is very much like the shape
that's a good
in Halloween, where I mean, it's acid,
yes,
it's fire, and he
yes.
keeps popping
But
up.
Sean, it makes sense because it's a robot.
No, I
it's
know.
a robot,
But
okay?
I'm saying
but if it's
that-
a living,
that
breathing
established-
person, though, Sean.
But
I will-
Michael Myers was the boogeyman
Right.
incarnate in that movie, and you buy it. And I think in Halloween.
And
buy it
Jason,
in-
and Jason, see now, Jason takes it to a place where
that takes it to a
you're
whole other.
but what you're doing there is you're embracing the cliche.
I think so,
Now
too,
you
right.
want
You
that to
expect
happen.
it and want it to
You
happen.
want it to happen. Now it's like we're all laughing at the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the weird thing is the tables have kind of turned. I mean, I know for you because you're kind of sick and twisted. Is you like it's like you're rooting for him. You're rooting for Jason. Actually, you
a
want
little bit.
A lot of the movies are made
you're,
with that.
You're like,
yeah.
hey, I want to see how many people see slashes up tonight.
But
you know?
after a while, it becomes a challenge of how creatively they now have him pop back up. Now
Yeah.
that's what's fun about him.
It's almost a comedy.
A side
Yeah,
note: as many Jason movies as they made, they never made him a goalie.
I was in the weeds waiting on that one.
There is one line. There's one funny line in Freddy versus Jason where that one kid goes, "That hockey player's really pissed off."
Okay, there you go.
Hey, is this a cliche that has been retired? Remember, it's prevalent in the 50s. A lot of horror sci-fi movies ended with a question mark.
Yes,
Oh,
the
yeah.
question mark. I love
Yes.
the
I
question mark.
love the question mark.
I think that should be. I think every horror film should end
You
with
know
the
what?
question mark.
I'm actually with Sean. Maybe not every movie,
Every single one.
but I do love the question mark. I really do.
I think one of the first times I saw it was the original Blob.
Yeah.
Yes, Sean.
It may have been the first time. I don't know. But
And,
like,
and you know when that question mark came up, I'm on.
yeah.
Oh my
Ooh,
God!
Is it?
You're
over?
right. I
Like
don't
that was
know.
a new thing as a little kid when you were watching it. That was a new concept. Like, wait a minute.
Because what if?
What if it's coming back? Like
No,
But
no,
nothing better than William Castle in Homicide that ends with the logo, which is the Statue of Liberty of American International, with the head cut off.
Oh yeah, homicidal.
Homicidal.
Yeah,
Homicidal.
yes,
again.
yes.
With Gene Arliss.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Wow.
Very
And
impressive.
wasn't Joan Crawford?
No, no.
Oh no,
That
you're
was
right.
Straight Jacket.
That was thinking of
That's
Straight
yeah.
Jacket.
Yeah.
Where yes,
Yeah,
okay.
that was
Homicidal's
sort of
great.
Yeah, which
You're
is
right.
like kind of his take on Psycho, I guess.
Yeah, both those
Yeah.
Straight Jacket and Homicidal kind of were. Yeah.
What's your Joan Crawford impersonation like? Oh, you did that. Trog. You did that.
Don't fuck with me, fellas. Okay, that's Faye Dunaway, but you know.
But it's based on her character in Mommy Dearest. Very good. That was very good.
Yeah. No, he's many talents.
Yeah.
We got to take a short break. We'll be right back after this.
By the way, he was doing Johnny Carson, who
Yeah.
was the host
Yeah,
of the
no,
Tonight Show.
we've already done that.
Okay.
We've
All right.
explained it to
What do you
our
got? You got
listeners.
another
Come on,
cliche
keep
for
on
us?
going. Let's go.
Well, I've given you
Okay,
some.
well,
What about
I got a
James?
couple.
You've been very
like,
quiet
your-
over
your-
here.
your
we
wrinkled
talked
Post-it
about
notes.
we talked about
Let me just for the listeners, all Matts are typed double spaced. I forgot your name.
James.
James is on post-it
You know,
notes.
Yeah, he has
Scribble.
post-it notes. He's
James,
actually
Sean, Larry, and Matt.
he's actually graduated because they used to be on one post-it note in very, very tiny writing.
this is a very special episode.
Yeah.
No, you see, I don't want these guys to copy me. See,
Yeah, we're
so
gonna
I can-
copy him.
Post-it notes are easy to
You are
hide.
so
see?
paranoid. You're always afraid of me looking. I can't even read your chicken scratch.
You're looking now.
No,
Stop.
I can't even
you
read
wanna
it.
Copy me. Don't copy.
Oh my
All right, let him go.
And you think I have issues?
We were talking about running and falling.
Yes.
What about these tropes? The
Nice.
car won't start. The phone won't work.
Drop the keys.
Right.
Oh my God!
Right.
Those are three that I.
The lights won't work.
Yeah.
The flashlight won't work. Come
Yeah.
on.
Damn you! Come on!
There's no cell reception.
Well, James, you would appreciate this. In the Woody Allen film, Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Sex, the horror film segment with John Carradine, there's that great line where Woody Allen, the girl goes out to start the car, and it's not starting. The girl goes, "What's wrong? We're out of gas, oil, and water, and the battery's dead." That's pretty much what.
Perfect.
Wow, Woody Allen
Yeah.
reference. You must really like that.
Oh, I'm in heaven right now.
Yeah. No,
No, okay, you just touched
Great.
around-
He just brought it up again.
Oh,
Wonderful. No, it's wonderful.
Did you ever meet Woody Allen?
This is Monster Party. Really don't want to talk about that.
Oh,
come on. Let's talk about Woody Allen.
Wow.
We
But that was good. It was horror in Woody Allen. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
That was a nice Carson-esque setup there too.
Comedy horror is very hard to pull off.
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
totally.
Oh well, man, we've talked about this.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like because you have to play the horror straight. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What's one of your favorite horror comedies?
Oh gosh.
To digress.
Not to get off the subject for a moment. But
Wow, I didn't.
And we'll find the cliche in it.
Okay. Let me think.
Oh, one. Okay, yeah.
Is it Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein by any chance?
No.
Oh, no, you
said
haven't seen that
favorite.
one.
Well,
Okay.
Ghost of Mr. Chicken?
well,
That's a great one.
Luther.
Oh,
Attaboy, Luther. Come on, you love that one, right?
It was Young Frankenstein.
Well, that you know what?
Okay, we've named about
when you ask
five
so
different
go back
ones.
to our
when you ask the question, I never go back to when I was a kid. I'm thinking more current. That's interesting.
You can go back as a kid.
No, I didn't go there though.
You should. Maybe you should.
What was it like growing up? Tell us what happened
I'm getting
in the green
sleepy.
kitchen.
I'm
Did-
sleepy.
Did you go to private school like I did?
No,
Mine.
there was a theater that was a block from our house, maybe a block and a half, and that was my babysitter. So I did see The Ghost of Mr. Chicken.
Awesome.
I'm gonna say that could have been the first movie I ever seen.
Wow. Lucky man.
I remember
Wow.
watching Planet of the Apes and having a stomach ache and having to leave before I saw the ending.
Oh my gosh!
So I went
Really?
back the
Are you
next
kidding?
day to see the ending,
Wow.
and I remember thinking, I still don't get it. I'm 10. I don't understand. And then it's funny when you drive on PCH and you see those rocks where they
Yeah.
shot that scene.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that on the right side of those rocks is where they shot Planet of the Apes? On the left side is where they shot all the beach blanket bingo movies.
Wow.
Because they look
really?
different. Yeah.
The perfect crossover.
Favorite comedy horror? You know, I guess the Rocky Horror is one of my all-time favorites.
These guys are
Really?
big
Oh, okay.
fans. They
Yeah,
love
yeah.
it.
Find that
And
funny?
that movie plays upon a lot of the horror cliches. too.
That's right. See,
Don't
see what Sean did? See what?
Yeah, perfect.
It's a bit of a mind flip.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I see. I love that movie.
Well,
But
yeah, there's a whole old dark house. The car breaks down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I wanted to get back to James's. You rattled off 4 or 5.
Okay, well,
it was all the. It's the bad luck schlep rock.
Yeah.
So it's what is it? The car doesn't work, and
The
what
car
was the-
doesn't work.
the
The
light-
phone doesn't work.
phone
The
doesn't
lights don't work. Dropping the keys, Matt said.
Yeah, there's
Right,
one that
totally.
really one of them just really makes me angry.
Which
It
is
just
that?
pisses
They
me
all.
off.
Which one?
No, they do. It's not that they all make me angry. It's I guess maybe the car one. If
the car worked before.
if the car like in what was it in Cujo? In Cujo, where the car was kind of a beat up car, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was not a
that
new
was-
car.
That became a centerpiece of the movie in a way because
Yeah.
like that getting that
Well,
they had
yeah,
to
but
take
Sean-
refuge in that
yes, but
car.
Sean-
Christine always started.
if you were nice to her.
But Christine, he worked on it. He fixed it. He got it so it was pristine. But I'm like,
And he was also the outcast, the geek, the nerdy.
yes,
That's
yes,
true.
yes.
That's
And
true.
he became the stud,
Right.
Well,
right.
I'm
come
not going to
on.
say
Stud?
like not.
Well, no.
He
The
gets
girl
the hot
the girl turns into
But
one
you know
and loves
why?
him. Yeah.
Yes. But it's not so much a stud. He was cool because he was retro.
What was the evil
He
influence
was
of
no.
Christine?
He was.
though?
He was. But he was retro.
He got creepy
because
though.
of-
He didn't
right.
get studly, in my opinion.
He
got
didn't
creepy.
get studly.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
maybe we should.
Damn, I
that-
say one word wrong and you're on it.
No, his girlfriend. His girlfriend
It was more
from,
of a trope, I
Baywatch.
felt.
Alexandra Paul was a Baywatch.
which I
guy.
absolutely love and adore. But maybe we should say that for our car.
Stop
episode.
saving things. Hey, here's one for you. Because we haven't talked too much about science fiction.
Right.
Here's one.
Oh my gosh!
Here's one.
The whole
I'm
page.
really tired.
All right, give it to me.
And that is stuck in the airlock. The airlock. Oh, I'm in the airlock, and the wind is coming by me, and the atmosphere is being sucked out of the ship, but I'm still alive somehow.
Okay, so that bothers you? That
Bothers me because what? Because
you're in a spaceship.
yeah, but how
It's
much
gotta have
air is there in the spaceship that once it's out, it's out. It's not just
But
coming
Matt,
and coming and coming.
It's an airlock,
Right.
though. I mean, you've got to have air go through it. All spaceships have to have an airlock.
No, I'm not talking about that there's an airlock. That people survive being in the vacuum of space.
I'm
When
sorry, Matt. That's incorrect. Can I just say something? My wife is 20 years younger than I am, and
You
So, but
bastard.
no, but that means I can introduce her to films. And the other day she goes, "Is Seconds a good movie?" I go, "It is the creepiest movie."
One of my favorites of all
The
time.
fisheye lens drives me.
Oh, my
crazy.
James Wan Howe.
But it
But
works
she's
good
watching
there.
2001 with me on Blu-ray for the
Yeah.
first time.
First time.
Yeah.
First time. And when he says, "I'm sorry, Dave," she goes, "Ooh, Hal's gone rogue."
That's great.
I love hearing when viewers, listeners, or like your wife, when they see something like that for
the first time, and I'm with them, yeah.
and because what we're passionate about, what we love, it's that moment,
turning someone
when
onto
someone,
something.
it's kind of like when I had my daughter watch
The Exorcist.
No. When my
Rabid.
No. We never know. Come on. What kind of a father do you think I am?
No, the
Santa Claus gets shot in the mall.
No.
the animated one.
No. See, why do you do that? You always do that. No. We were watching Village of the Damned, and we're watching when the little kids go, "No, Nancy, leave him alone," and she looks and goes, "Oh, that is so creepy." And I'm like, yes, that's a moment, when she grasps that moment that I've known for years and years. It's such a great moment,
Right,
and
it's
what
good.
you experience with your wife, that is a great moment.
But I have a question though about your wife watching 2001.
Yeah.
For the first time. So by the end of it, did she like the movie? Did she appreciate it for like?
And you're talking to someone who on the big screen, it's 20 times more
sure.
powerful.
Of course, yeah.
This isn't a horror film, of course, but it's the same.
It's sci-fi. It's
My- sci-fi and horror.
No, but this what I'm about to say. My first wife was 11 years younger. She had never seen Godfather. We're watching Godfather. Sonny goes to the toll booth. The doorbell rings. We hit pause. As she goes to the door, she goes, "Oh, Sonny's going to kick their ass." And I just went, Sorry, a
That's beautiful.
little off the monster
That's
topic,
beautiful.
but it was the same kind of like, introducing people to horror is a great. The fact that I could teach someone else who Ingrid Pitt is or who
Yeah.
Right.
these people are.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's half the fun.
And there's a lot
Countess
of
Dracula is probably I freaking
I love that
that.
movie.
That's a
Yeah,
great one.
Elizabeth
Yeah,
Bathory,
that's great.
come on.
Amazing.
And
Vampire lovers.
Vampire Lovers. Oh yeah.
They have that's a midnight double bill DVD.
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
And a lot of those films, they do have cliches in them, but it's also beautiful, wonderful. Some may be some of the first times you saw some of those cliches. The thing I love about the Hammer films is they were the more sexy, colorful.
Yeah, bloody.
Well, yeah, but they were like the first. We had grown up watching the classic Boris Karloff,
Right.
Bela
It
Lugosi,
was
with
like
the black
it
and
was
white,
so
and with
new
Hammer it
and
was all
fresh.
color.
Yeah.
you know?
And Hammer, the reason Hammer worked for me was those actors were so earnest about everything. You believed everything because
Yeah.
we're talking about the Christopher Lee's Mummy. Those sets aren't that great. They are they just made me believe they were good.
Well, they're lighting. They're so great at just lighting these sets and
And the music, James Bernard music, and like it's just everything about and the makeup. It was
James
just,
is not a fan.
Yeah.
I'm actually not a James Bernard fan. I love film
Really?
music, but I could never warm up to James Bernard. It works in the movies, but not standing alone when
Dracula.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
You didn't like that?
No, I can't say I did.
Really?
I
Well,
wanted-
that's-
I wanted
You're
to like
Mr.
it.
Soundtrack.
Now that we're talking about music and sound, is it a cliche what John Carpenter started by the repetitive theme?
You mean like in Psycho,
People
for
d-
example?
Well, no, but people definitely copied Carpenter's style.
Well,
Yeah.
hello,
But
Psycho.
I think I would have to agree with Larry on
Yes.
this. I think that
and it's
that,
painful, isn't it?
I know. I know. It is.
Come on,
But
Sean,
you have no idea.
But you think you're saying that the Bernard
That's
Herrmann's-
repetitive.
But you're saying that Carpenter's score for Halloween was similar to John.
No, I don't think
Bernard
he's saying
Herrmann's?
that.
It's sort of introducing a tradition.
Yes.
A musical tradition of
Yes.
having a
It's the sting, the musical
right,
sting.
exactly, the
Sure.
musical sting.
But
Right.
Carpenter introduced, he played with electronics, and the sting that he put into his scores was very, very brief and
Right.
and stark.
And like startling and quick.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Because there's like 15 notes to the entire score.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
just played over and over again, and yet it works.
But
Yeah.
the love theme is good.
Wait, which-
Halloween love theme.
Wait, oh, we're talking about Halloween.
Okay.
Halloween.
I actually,
Get out of that closet.
you know, I don't remember that in Halloween.
okay.
That was,
Maybe that
it's on the cutting room floor. But it,
Speaking
Okay, I got it. Young Frankenstein. Sorry, you met from before.
Oh.
My favorite comedy horror.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
That's a great
all
one.
right, all right.
Yeah.
That's all right.
My favorite line in any movie is from that movie is when he's, you know, the monster's in the room, he's locked the door, and he goes, "Hello, handsome." I use that every time. I got to
greatest.
see Young Frankenstein at the Castro Theater with Gene Wilder as a guest speaker after.
man.
Showed up.
I forgot that he gets laughed because it's a big screen. I'm so used to seeing it on DVD.
Yeah.
He gets laughs with his eyes. His expressions get more laughs in a theater. I just totally forgot that.
yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
that
Amazing.
moment of fear when he realizes this is a really bad idea.
And then he says, I still don't know what he says, but you know, never open this door. Do not open this door, and then open this goddamn door right now. Mommy, I was kidding. And he turns around.
Bash your friggin' heads in.
Before he says hello, handsome, he goes, he says, I don't know what he says.
You know,
we miss him.
If we could say just take a second, because we usually don't do this with deceased artiste type thing, but it wasn't until he passed away recently that I realized it's like, God, he was in so many things that I love
Oh yeah.
Brilliant.
and brilliant in them.
Yes.
Like, wow.
And talk about a guy who was not a cliche, somebody who brought to roles things that you would never even think of.
Yeah.
If you were,
Right.
you know, analyzing acting, like, wow, that's something I've never seen before.
He will always be, to me, the original and one and only Willy Wonka, quite honestly.
Oh.
Yeah.
But as much as he was always Gene Wilder, he was always distinctive in the different characters he played too. Like after all the obituaries, looking at the different stills of the different characters he plays, like wow, he had a range. He was
did
always
kinda, but you're right. He did kind of balance it where his presence was Gene Wilder, but you're right. He still was always a good character too. It wasn't like he never walked through any role.
And because he wrote Young Frankenstein, it was his idea, and Mel
That's
joined
right.
him. We can go right to back the fact they made fun of cliches when the
Oh,
girl
yes.
says, "What should we throw in the well now?" They're having fun with what
Oh,
the
totally.
history.
Yeah.
But
Totally.
Yeah.
the look
Walk
of that movie,
this way.
Yeah.
the look of that movie looks like James Whale's Frankenstein.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Talk about a pitch perfect homage. You know, I know they
Yeah.
throw that word around some, but that movie really hit it perfectly.
You know, Mark, just really quickly, I remember when the film came out and I saw an advertisement for it, and as a kid, I was angry at first. I thought, I take my monsters seriously. You know, I don't
he
want
does.
I don't want
He
to
hates
make
the
fun
monsters.
of it. Yeah, which is another story. But you know, when
Save that for another show.
when I did see Young Frankenstein, reluctantly, mind you, I actually loved it. I loved it because I don't think they weren't poking fun at it. You know.
No,
Well,
clearly he loved
They
those.
were in a very loving way.
No, yeah, and some of the stuff that happened is stuff that, I mean, for these characters, it would happen. You know, I mean. the whole thing about the brain and, you know, you won't get mad. I will not get mad.
Abby
Was
normal.
that whole thing? I mean, and that's just one of many.
A sedative?
But he was absolutely marvelous in that film. And that
I
is a
heard
great-
watching DVD commentary that when Madeline Kahn kisses Gene Wilder, she ad-libbed no tongues.
Really?
That was her
Wow.
ad-lib. Yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah.
awesome.
But that was but that's a good thing about cliches is that you get a laugh if you make fun of them,
Yeah.
which,
Right,
which
right.
is
and
maybe
no one's going to get the joke unless they've seen 100 horror films.
Which,
Right.
which is funny because maybe that's what a lot of the Scream films have done. They're kind of playing upon that. They know that, these audiences have seen this many times. Well, we'll put a little twist on the same cliche, perhaps.
And
Which
I
is
really
why-
did enjoy the first Scream.
Yeah,
Especially.
me too.
I
Yeah, I liked it.
thought that was handled very well, and
Yeah.
And
did
when you see as many horror films as you have, when something is original, it stands out. When the head starts walking and John Carpenter's The Thing, and the line is, "You got to be fucking kidding me!"
Right.
That was the biggest.
plucked
yeah.
from your mind.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
There was no cliche in that, though, my friend. That was just
It's a remake. It's a remake without any cliches to the original.
Yeah, that's
absolutely
true.
unbelievable.
By the way, I don't want to get off topic.
no, go ahead.
When I used to
You're our
live, when I
guest.
used to live here, I went to, I think it's in the valley somewhere. I don't know who does it. It's a house. There's a line of people, and it's free. And you walk in, and they recreate the original thing for you. And
Bob Burns.
Is
well,
that right?
He did it 1 year.
Oh, really? That was the
Yes.
only.
Did you see
Yeah.
it that time?
Yes, and it was
My friend, you
right.
should be feel privileged.
an actor who
Yes.
I'm blanking on his
Walter-
name.
not Walter Koenig.
No, the actor who I saw in it is pretty famous.
Dan
James
Roebuck?
Arness. Oh,
No. The actor in the when they recreated it for the Halloween part, on the street here.
yeah.
Daniel Roebuck.
Dan Roebuck.
Dan
Yeah,
Roebuck was
Dan Roebuck.
was doing it, and he
Been
does,
on the show.
He does it over and over and over again for people in line, and you're like,
Yeah.
this is the greatest idea I've ever seen.
Yeah, I remember going through that, and you see the
Haunted house.
the hand walking on the ground, and like, yeah, this was really done with love.
Oh,
Yeah, I
and
missed that.
and they didn't charge anybody.
No.
Well, and he used to do that. Bob Burns
Every
He
year,
used to
every
do that
year.
every year,
Yeah.
a different theme.
He doesn't do that anymore because he's much older now. But
But you're saying
but
the
they're
thing was the only one they ever did?
no, the thing they only did the thing that
one
one
year.
year.
That
One year
year,
they
yeah.
did
The year I went.
Aliens.
They did
Yeah,
Aliens. They did The Exorcist.
Exorcist. So and they did a creature from the Black Lagoon. And what's really interesting is there are a lot of people who are in the special effects world here in the LA area who actually grew up helping out Bob Burns on a lot of these things and actually helped him build some of these sets and stuff. And so Bob Burns is he's put on a pedestal. He's like one of those guys who he also has an amazing collection. He's a guy who's been a real big fan and supporter of Monster Kids everywhere.
Yeah, he has in his house. If you're lucky enough to be able to check out his collection,
If you're fortunate like Shawn Sheridan.
and me.
Oh,
Yeah, oh, I've been there. Yeah, yeah. I've
You
got
mean
a
like
nice.
Forey Ackerman would let you
Yeah,
go into his
right,
house?
exactly.
But a little different,
different.
because
It's more like a lot of movie props.
Bob Burns had more props,
Yeah.
Right, right.
from the film. So he has the Alien Queen.
Yeah.
And
He has the time machine.
He has the original time machine, which they restored,
Yeah.
and he has so many different ships from various movies.
Right.
This is like This Island Earth too.
Yeah, and a lot of the Cantina aliens from Star Wars.
all the
Rick
masks,
Baker's masks.
and
yeah.
it's amazing. But and so he's, needless to say, he's friends with a lot of people in the industry, and so they would help him with these Halloween shows. And they, the only one that I ever went to was the Thing one, but
Yeah.
it was great.
And there's a
And-
book for our listeners who don't know called "It Came from Bob's Basement," which
Great book.
catalogs everything he's
That
done.
is
Yeah.
thick book, man.
I have that book and it's signed and it's one of
Nice.
my treasured books.
Again, I think I started that with the words off topic.
Keep going, man.
No, that's okay. No, that was good. It was timely. It
was a happy cliche.
It was nice.
Hey guys,
That was-
how about this one? This is kind of like one in a couple
Bring us
movies
back,
you
buddy.
see. It's the character who turns out is disfigured but is wearing a wax face.
what?
That's a great one.
Wait,
Because
what?
no,
That's a
okay,
cliche?
like
What?
That's a great one.
It's a cliche because it's something you just can't buy because House of Wax
yes.
or Mystery in the Wax Museum.
Yeah.
It's Vincent Price or Lionel Atwell. Like they're walking around, they're talking,
Yeah,
they're smiling, they're
yeah.
moving their mouths.
Yeah.
It's wax though because you find out then like the heroin knocks at their face and
Yeah.
it breaks apart
Yeah.
like an eggshell.
Yeah.
How did that stay on? How,
Well,
because
I gotta
it's not
know.
malleable.
Okay, no,
It's not
no. It's
How did
because
that
it's his
stay?
lip. It's around
not,
his
it's
lips.
not late. No, the
It's around
entire
his lips.
face is
no,
covered.
Sean, it's around his lips.
No. Sean is right. Sean is right. And think about this. Think about when you put on a rubber Halloween mask. How long can you wear that mask? 10 minutes tops.
Right.
Yeah. Imagine wearing that fucking wax thing the
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
day.
But how's that a cliche, Sean?
Because they've used it in a
What-
lot of
No,
movies.
it's not like a ton of them. I mean, it's not like how many people like women
How about
trip in a horror
or
film.
like Mission Impossible, where they're always
Yes.
have the masks and they pull them off, and then they're like,
Yeah,
you're
it's
wearing
in the
that thing the entire
Okay,
day.
okay.
for that matter.
Here's the ultimate one.
Scooby-Doo,
though.
yeah.
Here's the ultimate wearing a mask and nobody notices one. Happy birthday to me,
Okay.
Melissa Sue Anderson.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of giving something away by saying this.
Okay,
but
spoiler alert,
There's somebody
listeners.
going around posing as Melissa Sue Anderson by wearing.
I did it
Melissa
for a
Sue-
while. I was 16.
by wearing a Melissa Sue Anderson latex mask, and nobody notices. And she even like makes out with the guy in a scene, and they're French kissing, and he doesn't notice it's a fucking mask.
But that's how horny guys are.
That
right?
reminds me of another cliche: the poster that's better than the movie. Because Happy Birthday
a
to
great
Me.
poster.
Is there a scene in Happy Birthday
Well,
to Me
there
with
is
a
that-
skewer?
There is that
It's
scene.
a shish kebab.
Yeah, there is
Yeah.
that
Guy's
scene in the
face,
movie.
yeah.
But that's
But how many times it says that wasn't in the movie? The poster had
No,
it
but
there?
that was though. That
No, but
movie
that
was.
reminds
But
me of-
yeah.
no, but that's a
right.
good one.
Yeah.
That also would apply to albums too.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
like, this album's got to be the most hardest rock because it's got the Frank Frazetta, and then it's like love on the night. And
double albums always meant, oh, the artwork's in the album, it's not in the record. Yeah, all the good stuff,
Right,
the
right.
record's not. Yeah.
But didn't we have we had Lisa Langlois from Happy Birthday to Me?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
did.
And
Yeah.
didn't
Wow.
she
She was
sort of-
amazing.
See, we're big time here.
In this chair?
in
Yes.
that chair.
Yes,
Wow.
sure.
Yeah, she brought the skewer. Yeah.
Yeah, and didn't she reveal that they were kind of making up the ending as they went along?
Yes, that's true.
Then that's why you had that twist ending.
Actually, you may be right.
Yeah.
If they shot the scene where the guy's making out with the killer and the killer is supposed to be wearing a mask, but if it's not supposed to be the mask, you could be right. That's
That's
true.
like they change their mind at the last
That's
minute.
true.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
are
that's-
teaching someone out there to write a film that debunks every cliche that, oh, I know it's going to happen. Oh, it didn't happen. We're actually creating that.
Yes.
That's
that
true.
form,
Yes.
There you
that
go.
Here
Template.
on Monster Party.
That
Except-
template can be written.
Accept that challenge. Now, here's, I don't know if this is a
This is a good time to talk about our script writing contest.
Now, I don't know if this is necessarily a cliche. I mean, it's a cliche in the sense of when it comes to science fiction, adventurous heroes, but like of the Captain Kirk type. Who and Picard did a little of this, but you know, heroes like this throughout the ages did this, and then there's always the human hero that has sex with the alien woman, right?
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Now, how many diseases are there on this planet alone?
The answer is 7.
And you never see that side of it. Like, wouldn't you have something
Wait.
by the end of your 5-year mission?
So wait,
they
wait,
had, like,
wait.
a
Are you
a space condom.
Wait, are you suggesting?
guess.
I'm not sure what you're suggesting. Are you saying that if you were that space hero and you had sex with many aliens, or are you saying?
Well, the
is it just
cliche
like
is
if you're,
the
let's say you're on
philandering
you're on this
hero.
spaceship and you have to work with this alien race and you're working with this alien gal. And
I'm not.
you
No,
know,
I'm not
you know,
talking
you-
about working with anybody.
Okay.
I'm talking about you hit the planet, you hit it, you quit it, you get back on the ship, you go.
Wait, you land.
Next thing you know,
you land and you just have sex with the alien.
Well, what do you think Kirk did every single episode?
No, but
pretty
there was
much.
like a
You
little-
remember James, right?
Oh, of course.
No, go ahead, Mark.
Are you really going to debate this?
No, I think Mark was going to say
I
something.
was just going Earth girls are easy.
There you go.
Well,
No, you see, you make it
so
sound.
say you.
You make it sound like that Captain Kirk just shows up. And goes,
But then,
"Oh, let's have
again,
sex."
Mars needs women.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right,
He's got a point. He's got a
he
point.
does, yeah.
If David Cronenberg made like a space movie, that would be the plot.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
he'd have sex. Some character
Yeah.
would, an Earthling would have sex with an alien and get
Totally.
some horrible disease.
Well, what there was a there. Yeah, there are films like that.
There are a
where-
couple.
Yeah,
Wasn't speaking of Lisa Langlois?
Yeah.
I think that
Yes,
was one.
that was one.
That was one.
Transformation.
Transformation.
Yeah,
That
it was
was
kinda
one.
like an
Yeah.
AIDS allegory
That's
on a
right.
spaceship.
That's
yeah.
right.
Rex
Yeah.
Smith.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
I mean,
there you go.
Captain Kirk should be just a bubbling pile of mucus by the end of his 5-year mission.
Frankfurter has sex with both sexes.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yes, but they're not
Yeah.
aliens.
Well, he's alien, so
Yeah.
he could have
Yeah,
given
yeah.
them
Oh,
something.
there you go.
Alien.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. Thanks for
They're-
spoiling it, buddy. You know, there's some people out there who've been wanting to watch that. And now you just wrecked it. You could have said spoiler alert.
All right.
This happens all the time, Mark. All the time.
Along the Star Trek kind of
Universe.
line.
Okay. I love Star Trek.
Here's one. Here's one I hate, and I think you'll all agree with me. The Genius Kid.
Oh yeah.
Genius Kid.
Yeah.
Matt.
A la Wesley Crusher, but it's not just Star Trek. It's a lot of shows. where
Village of the
it's-
Giants.
Village of the Giants. It's always that kid. Oh, I love you.
Ronnie Howard.
You pulled that one out.
Matt.
That's a great one.
Matt.
By the way, again,
say
when
it.
when you said genius, there is a line in The Fly with Vincent Price.
Right.
Yes.
That was 50 something.
Can you do
right?
Vincent Price?
No, but he 50 something.
No.
And he says, is he talking about his brother?
Yes.
Yes.
He
Right.
says his brother
Right.
invented.
Yes.
He actually says a flat screen TV. He says that in the movie, and you're like, I know. I did. I was like, oh my god, they were telling. I love when movies tell the future and get it right.
But
Right?
that has nothing,
Yeah, really.
but that has
Again.
nothing to do with the Genius Kid.
No, that's why I said I'll forget it. But I think it really.
Do you need a pen? You want to write
What
this
if?
stuff down?
What if though?
You want to write down the top,
Larry, what if somebody's listening to this and that's all they remember?
yeah. That's right.
You know,
Well, and Arthur C. Clarke predicted almost everything, right? Didn't he?
totally.
Yeah, and
Well,
Star Trek even.
Star Trek, yeah.
You know, the cell phone.
Totally.
Rollerball was right about books on chips on tape and I mean excuse me on computers.
are we not going to talk about the Genius Kids now? Are we moving on?
Well, no,
We're gonna get
we're
back
talking
to
about
it.
genius. We're talking about the
Okay.
genius.
What's your genius kid? Give me your genius
no,
kid.
No, let me write this down.
No.
Gene.
Okay,
No,
Genius
no,
Kid.
Go, keep going.
I know,
keep going,
I want-
keep going.
Larry-
Rollerball, the chip. Go ahead.
Larry,
Go ahead.
remember the Genius Kid and Rollerball?
Yeah,
There is no Genius Kid in Rollerball.
I know. I'm just.
Why do you do do that.
Mark-
now someone's going to think, oh, I'm going to see Rollerball with James Caan. I'm looking for the genius
Mark,
kid.
I get really
The youngest guy in the movie. Okay.
I get really excited there for a second, Mark, when you said Rollerball predicted Rollerball, which we have today. It's like, that's awesome. We have Rollerball.
By the way, as long as listeners actually see the Rollerball with James Caan and not the remake.
Oh, for God's sake, yes.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah, I do enjoy that movie.
The remake?
No, the original. Of course.
Come on.
Yeah, no, the
great.
original.
It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That countries are now corporations.
Right.
and
Yeah,
it's,
that's awesome.
it's like now.
We're gonna
Yeah.
save that for our roller skating episode.
Wow.
Prayer
so,
for the Roller Boys. Yeah. Solar Babies.
Yeah. And that's it. Starlight Express.
Roller Boogie.
Genius kids. Now,
So, go,
Matt,
buddy.
Matt, when you said that, I didn't even think about it. And my gosh, Matt, I am absolutely with you there.
Yeah.
And it's so freaking irritating. And look, I'm a lover of Star Trek, like James. And there was a moment in one of the Next Generations ones when Wesley Crusher actually says to Geordie LaForge, who is the freaking engineer, and Wesley goes, why can't you just do it in your head? I want to take my fist and smack the hell out of him. And I think Will Wheaton, he's aware of it. He
would agree with you.
But bless his heart, he
would agree with you.
He's an actor. He's playing a character, but that's not the only place where you see the genius kid. But that is one genius kid that I absolutely hate. There's also the genius kid in Galactica 1980.
Oh, yeah.
Mr.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Z or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And
What the fuck
it
is that?
bugs the hell out
Yeah.
of me, Sean.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a Battlestar Galactica fan. You should know that, right?
You guys are articulate. Am I the only one drinking?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
you guys-
all
Yes.
drinking.
All
This is
right.
No,
what
we're
happens.
drinking too.
This is what happens when we drink. And sometimes every once in
When
a while,
you hear this later, you'll detect all the slurs and the half-finished sentences.
it-
Well,
It
you might slash genius kid slash genius. There's always a genius.
Well, right.
I don't mind the scientific genius
If he's earned it.
Yes. Like for example,
With a
you're-
plaque.
You're,
Okay.
yes, you were talking about the thing, the classic
Diploma.
thing.
Yeah.
You were talking about the classic thing, and I love that scientist. You know,
But wait a minute. So now if we're going to talk
Oh,
about that movie,
yes, okay.
then that's another cliche that I'm really tired of, is the, hey, let's reason with the thing that's trying to kill us.
no, you no.
Oh, I hate
you
that.
don't like that?
No.
But what? You want to just go out and kill the alien?
If he's trying to kill you.
Yeah, but back in the 50s, you really always very often had the two camps, the military
Yes.
versus the scientists who wanted to learn more about the
Right.
monster and not
We
kill
can
it.
reason with it.
No,
Right.
Look.
It enters a room by going and tearing the door off the wall.
and I know
That's like the priest
and he-
in War of the Worlds too.
yeah.
I walked through the Valley of the Shadow.
Yeah. Okay, now obviously you did not. You were not raised in a private school.
No, I wasn't.
I know
God.
you.
Cliche. Priest always dies.
Well, and I know it's a movie you guys don't like, but
I love that
no,
film.
No, I'm talking
Which
about
one?
the original Independence Day.
Oh.
With the scene with Brent Spiner, which I think is a scene that plays well.
No, hate him. My favorite.
Wait, are you? Wait a minute. Wait, for our listeners,
You like that movie.
Independence Day.
Yes.
That's the big
Holy
Roland Emmerich.
shit.
Hang on. It's the big Roland Emmerich thing about the invasion of these
We
giant.
all know what it is.
Okay,
Right.
Do you have a
Describe
blood
the
pressure machine?
No. But there was a moment. When for the listeners who are not familiar with it, where there's a scientist at Area 51.
Yeah.
And it's played
Now,
by
Area
Brent Spiner.
51 is an
And-
area of Nevada.
Listen. We all know what Area 51
Nevada
is.
is a state.
There are 50 other areas.
It's right after Area 50.
Okay, this isn't funny anymore. Okay, listen, I'm trying to make a
Okay,
point.
go ahead.
So Brent Spiner, who plays Data, Lieutenant Commander Data in Star Trek,
Which
he
was
plays
based on the
this-
original Star Trek.
He's this eccentric
turns
scientist.
50.
He's this eccentric scientist, and I agree with Matt. I was insulted, James. I was insulted.
But by
'Cause
what?
He
Wait,
was loony. He was a loony. His hair was. I mean, he was trying to do the Einstein, but it was.
Right.
He was like. Would it seem like he was on a crack or
Back
something?
to the Future, man. in the wrong movie.
Yeah.
In the wrong movie.
Don't
Right.
knock Back to the
In
Future.
the wrong movie.
But the
Okay.
wacky scientist.
The
though,
wrong
yeah.
movie.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Because
Right?
I'm a
That's
fan of Back
that's
to
a
the Future, but
lighthearted movie, Back to the Future.
Yes.
This is
Right.
supposed to be kind of serious.
But he's
Right.
but it's like you take Doc
He's
Brown
cartoonish,
and you
eccentric.
make him even bigger.
Right,
And,
right.
and
No,
Matt,
doesn't work at all.
I'm with you. And,
Terrible.
and James, I'm for someone who likes interiors so much. I'm
Any
surprised
interiors?
Leave right now. Get out of
that
this room.
you like that.
What would Woody Allen think
No,
of this
seriously,
situation?
look at me. No, look at me.
E.G.
in the
Marshall
face.
was an actor
Look at
in
me in
many
the face.
things. Interiors
Do you
was
really?
one.
Do you really like that guy, that character? Do you really like him?
The movie I enjoyed.
No, not the movie. That character. And look at me.
Yes.
My favorite movie mistake is in Independence Day, where
Oh, really?
Jeff Goldblum is upset and he's kicking things around, and the thing he kicks around falls over, and the back of it says Art Department.
Really?
Is that right?
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Man,
It's
that's
a barrel. It's a
awesome.
barrel.
Oh.
And it says Art Department.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Mark,
a good one.
part of me wants to look back at that
Yeah.
film, but another part of me just does not want to waste my
I'm
time.
with you.
Yeah,
I agree.
Hey,
Yeah,
Well,
I'll just take your word
okay.
for it.
Speaking of that movie, here's another one. Here's another cliche for you. that
Okay.
Matt has the floor.
completely pisses me off.
Okay.
And that is,
Give it to me, Matt.
all of a sudden,
Come on.
the human knows how to work the alien technology.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Give him an hour, and he
Give me
can
an
fly the
example of
spaceship.
that. What is
he
an
flies
example?
the spaceship.
What is the example
In-
there?
in
What
Independence
movie?
Day.
Okay.
There are others.
No,
There
have
are
to
others.
be, no, there are other. the Last Starfighter, but he.
But they sorta train him
No,
on
he's
that.
trained by,
Yeah.
They
by
train.
the
Okay, that
video
makes sense.
game. Yeah.
But like,
I know what
it
you're
takes them an
saying.
hour. Next thing you know, they're able to not
Okay,
only
okay.
fly the ship, but
Yeah,
fool
okay,
the mothership
okay.
that they belong there.
Okay, now listen.
Right,
Listen.
I'm sorry. I have to interrupt. That's where you say then there's no movie if that doesn't happen.
And
No,
wouldn't that
no.
have been for the best?
I heard a no.
It's
Larry
like
says no.
I say that because if you didn't have that scene, they could have done something else. But I do agree with Matt. But Matt, if it's a cliche though, and you got
That's
to help
Matt's
me out here.
ringtone. I agree with Matt. I agree with Matt. I agree with Matt.
It will be now.
I don't always agree with Matt.
No, very
but-
rarely.
No,
This is a very special episode.
Listen, Mark. I want to be honest and fair. And if I agree with him, I will say so.
And I try to do the same.
Yeah, we
I
try
try
to
to
do
do
the
the
same.
Why do you
There are
speak like it's the WWF?
I'm not. I'm just we're very passionate.
We're passionate
I'm
people.
joking.
You know what?
No, keep your
I don't know if he
jokes.
told you, but I'm a stand-up comic.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
Mark-
and you do funny voices. Very funny. Okay, listen, getting back. Listen. Just really quickly, getting back to Independence Day. All I want to tell you is,
Yes,
Matt.
yes.
Yes, that pissed me off too. But there are other movies where the American or the human gets into an alien spacecraft and goes, "Oh my gosh, I pressed this," and that's the thing I want to get at because that's what makes it a cliche. If
I
we've
know I've seen it enough.
I have seen it before.
okay,
I can't.
what
I don't
movie?
have one right.
You don't
off the
have
top-
one?
I don't have one right off the top of my
Sean,
head.
you must have one, Mr.
I'm
Encyclopedia.
thinking. I don't know. I'm
Oh my
seeing-
God, have you stumped you?
Well, what about you, Larry? Do you have one?
No, that's the thing. That's the thing. I mean,
I've
that's,
seen it before.
it's the thing that pisses me off is I hate that moment in Independence Day. It pisses me off like crazy, like Matt. It's almost oh God, it just rips my gut. It's so unrealistic. It's insulting.
wow.
That someone can be that intelligent?
Ooh.
No,
Oh.
he
Oh,
is
wait a minute.
intelligent.
Hold on
it's
now.
an alien. It's an
Mic drop.
Oh boy, you sure got us.
No,
It's
go
an
ahead.
alien being, an alien spaceship. Did we not all see Prometheus?
Okay.
Oh well,
Yes.
don't they kind of figure out how to work that pretty quick? Oh, that's the robot.
That's
though.
the robot.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
it's
right.
the
But-
robot.
I guess.
Yeah, it helps.
It's usually the speed of how fast they learn.
Right. Wouldn't
Right.
it take like weeks, months?
Yeah.
to learn
Years,
a new
Sean,
technology?
years. How long did it take
Yeah.
to figure out what a
Yeah.
certain foreign language is
And
in
if
the
Brent
caves?
Spiner were flying it because he was studying it, that'd be one thing.
Right,
Right.
No, but it's Randy Quaid who's actually flying the thing, right? In
Which is
Independence Day,
it's
which is even harder to
what?
believe.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can imagine him flying anything.
No, but
No,
even-
Randy
even-
Quaid's not flying it.
He's not.
I don't know.
No.
I saw that movie once when it came out and never
Randy
saw it
Quaid.
again.
No, he's flying his airplane.
No, but he's okay. Maybe you're,
You're
right.
talking-
That's, okay. What?
Wait a minute. You're saying this is
We'll
one of
fix
your
it in
favorite
post.
films and you don't even remember?
You're right. You're right. He does.
Oh
fly
my
the airplane.
God.
But I don't remember Brent Spiner flying the thing.
No, he
No,
doesn't.
he doesn't. That's
he
what he's
should've.
saying.
He
That's what
should've.
should have. That makes
Okay,
sense.
okay,
Mark,
okay.
wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree? The crazy, wild-haired scientist, he's been dealing with this alien, is kind of tapping into the equipment. He would have some kind of an
If
understanding.
we're going to buy it at all.
Yes,
you would,
but not
yeah.
Jeff Goldblum, as smart as he is.
The
And granted,
irony
he
is-
knows about rent control and all that stuff.
The
But I'm
irony,
serious-
there's irony here that you're exhibiting independent thought.
Right.
for Independence Day.
And
No one's with you yet, and it's been 23 minutes, this rant.
No, I think Matt's on board.
No, Matt's on
See,
board.
you're trying to make it funny, and it didn't.
I'm
really
a
go
guest.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
I need to stand out because they hear you all the time.
Yeah. No.
All right.
There you go.
And I'm not a big fan of Independence Day like Sean. I saw it.
No, James.
You know.
James.
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 And I saw it once. I'm like, I didn't need to see it again.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
let me point out that I did promise you earlier that Larry would turn on you.
No. He's
Well,
a
there
lovely
was,
guest.
again, it's
He's a lovely guest.
People listening, they don't see the
joy.
they don't see the finger pointing
Oh, there's no
and the aggression and the blood and the red faces.
There's no. He's a comedian. He's exaggerating.
Okay, let me ask you: is this? Are we done with this? This is.
Then keep your hands under the table. You are pointing with the weapons.
That's a pen.
A pen is pointy and
I'm
hurts.
writing.
All of a sudden, he's holding a blackjack, and I don't know why.
Put the nunchucks down, Larry.
Yeah.
Our topic tonight.
Okay. Here's one that I still kind of love, even though it is a cliche. But when it happens, I kind of still enjoy it, and I feel bad about it.
Okay.
Chest bursting. Anytime an alien comes through someone's skin from inside their body,
It is pretty cool.
I kind of like it.
I mean, Alien
Every
started
time.
it.
Wait,
and
that's a
it's-
cliche?
Oh, it's been in a
Once
lot of
in
stuff.
the
It's been
80s,
Next Generation that was in there.
Every horror film, every sci-fi horror, and every alien ripoff.
Yeah.
They thought of
But
different
was it
excuses, like it was
logical?
like
Did
giving
it make
birth to a
sense?
creature, or
Or it came from within, which was pre.
right. That's true.
Pre-alien.
That's true. But like you did see it, you just saw it a lot. It
You've
was,
seen that, right? Cronenberg?
Yeah. Oh. I have to actually be in a mood for Cronenberg.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
You
can't-
can't-
I saw that with my mom. I swear to God, I saw it with my mom, and it was a double feature. It was like with Food of the Gods or some stupid thing, and then that's the second movie with the sex worms. And I'm sitting there with my mom, like,
I
please let's stay.
again, off topic. You know what I saw with my mom? Deliverance.
oh my gosh! Wow.
I thought it was a Burt Reynolds fun.
Yeah, it was like a Hooper too.
This is like Smoking the Bandit, right?
Wow.
That's it. That's another topic.
yeah.
Uncomfortable theater mates.
Wow.
Well, that was all you could to get into a horror movie back then. That was the
By
only
the way,
to do
I
it.
have to. My mom's passed away, but I have to applaud my mom and thank my mom. My mom would take me to the drive. My mom was she called the monster movie. She didn't call them horror. She want to go see the
Right.
my mother
She liked
sat
them.
through from dusk till dawn 5 Planet of the Apes movies at the
You
drive-in.
did that? Oh,
My mom too. I did the same thing.
awesome.
My mom brought a thermos of coffee. And by the time we got to Battle, she was like, "You sure you don't want to go?" And I was like, "This is the one I haven't seen." Yeah. She's the greatest.
Awesome.
She's the greatest.
Yeah, Mark,
it was-
we were dropped off to see it, but at least we saw it. But that's a beautiful.
They came
thing.
back 2 days later.
So your mom took.
And
you
here's a
through lot
movie.
of- yeah.
Here's a movie I've been looking for because for some reason, the Twilight people was on a double bill with Catch 22.
Wow.
Tell me about it. I have no idea why.
I can get you. I can make a copy of that. I have that movie.
Oh really? Because I was sleeping for Catch 22,
was-
and I was like, I'm not gonna watch this, and I'm in the back and I'm sleeping, and I wake up like, "Hey, what's the movie doing?" And that's when the guts fall out of the guy from Catch 22,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
scarier than
Wow.
Twilight
Yeah,
people. But I would love the Twilight.
Yeah,
I would never see-
John Ashley. It's a Filipino horror 70s. Yeah, that's a good one.
Wow.
John Ashley, John Agar, they're all
Oh, you
John.
found a friend here, man.
Yeah.
This guy.
But
I've not seen that movie since I was a child.
But hey, I just want to take a moment to toast your mom because I think that's really awesome.
Yay.
Monster movies, yeah.
That's awesome.
And when she got older, this was my favorite thing. I was go visit her at her house on the movie she's watching on TV, a movie called Clones. And she's
yeah,
watching it.
I got that movie
Yeah, I
too.
know that
That's a
film.
good
And
one.
this is where short-term memory loss will come into play for everybody. 5 minutes before the movie ends, my mom goes, "Oh, I saw this." But how great is it to enjoy a film again?
That's awesome.
It's like ever see a film you haven't seen in a long time? It's a new movie because you just can't remember everything.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh, yeah.
maybe a
Right.
frame, maybe just some music or something. But that,
Yeah.
Hey, here's one. Here's a more modern cliche that really pretty much started, I think, after The Matrix, and that is the whole slow motion, the sudden slow motion action shot or the bullet time effect.
Or the
I would
circular-
say
the circular thing.
instead of cliche, I would say trendy. It was a
Yeah,
trend to
but
do
you
like,
see
oh,
it
that was
still.
now
you
it
see
is,
it in
yeah.
action
Yeah.
movies and sci-fi movies
Yeah.
all the time. I mean, it's
Yeah.
copied and aped a lot. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's almost expected sometimes, which it just gets annoying after a while.
And I would add that the horror version of that is like the very fast, choppy, kind of strobe light
Jump cut
kind of
thing.
jump cut
Yes.
effects.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like pick a shot and go with it, will you please?
Yeah. Also, any character who just suddenly goes, no. do people really do that?
Yell at the sky.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of
Yeah.
cliche.
How about I'm done with this entirely.
Okay.
There's no more. We don't need to have anybody go back in time and stop someone from fucking up time. Enough.
Which is what Rod Serling said when they canceled The Twilight Zone. He goes, we did the time travel thing to death. There's nothing new to add to it.
Right. Now we've seen every permutation of it.
Well, yeah, but if someone comes along and thinks a new kind of fresh way to do it,
The way to do it is to have a good story. Like I enjoyed when they did it with the X-Men movie, Days of Future Past.
Yeah, that was
I enjoyed
good.
that.
Yeah.
But I've seen it so many times that's like there's got to be another
Did you
thing
see
to do.
Did you see the Stephen King JFK one where he goes back in time to stop
11/22/63.
Yeah, did you see that one? That
No,
was
Was
that
that
was
good?
a, that was
Was
a
it worth
It's
it?
like a Netflix thing.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, because they play with cliches in that too. Right? Anytime you go back in time, you have the knowledge of the future. So the squirrel goes, "Why did you do that?" He goes, "Well, my brother Fredo lied to me," and he does the Godfather references. Like
that's great.
Yeah, it's like
great.
they play around with it. But I did enjoy that one. Although the ending was super sad to me. I thought the ending was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this is bad."
The book is sad.
I think it's more. It's not even necessarily the plot device as it is usually the character. There's a guy that's like I'm the time cop who has to go back and there's a time division or something like that. I think you're right. I kind of back off that. That's a cliche that it depends on how it's handled.
sure, right.
Yeah.
Oh, he backed off on what he said. I hope this never happens again. Now you're so passionate. Now I'm going to back off that.
No, because sometimes I can be convinced. See,
Wow.
that's what happens here. It's an open forum. It's a safety zone.
We try to
where
be
you
we
can
try to be
learn
honest
something.
with each other,
Yeah.
and hopefully, we learn something. Our listeners learn something, and everybody wins.
Okay, getting back into sci-fi cliches, what about guns having to be laser blasters? Don't they have just like regular pistols in the future?
No,
why do they all have to be?
No, I expect lasers.
Well,
That's
yeah,
what
but
I
because
expect.
it's a cliche, you've been conditioned to expect it.
I expected it.
For that
It's
matter,
space.
things aren't supposed to blow up in outer space. They're not supposed to be that.
Well, it's not
kinda
supposed to be
like-
sound either.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, great! Let's just take out all the fun out of the movies now.
Well, like 2001 did that really well
Yes.
though. There's no
But,
sound.
but,
Yeah,
you know,
but it's
weird.
not an
You heard-
action movie.
But
No,
you heard
yeah.
the breathing. Remember, you're
Yeah,
hearing
well,
what
yeah,
the
which is
astronauts
great. You would have
hearing.
heard that.
Which is scarier. The Birds never had a music
no
soundtrack.
music, that's right.
And you don't even notice it until you realize how creepy that was.
Right.
There was no
Yeah.
music.
Totally. I kind of wish all the laser guns were like the Logan's Run salmon guns because they have that cool nitric.
Isn't there?
acid,
It's like a
like
little
nitric
bit of fire or
explosion.
something.
Yeah, it's like it launches a little bomb at you.
Yeah,
That is
I like
actually-
that. I like those.
Do you have one of those?
No, I want one.
Also, when you talk about a laser, when you see a laser bolt, a blast
Yeah.
from a laser pistol,
Yeah.
that's kind of funny that like lasers are that slow. They just kind of like
They're like, you're right.
like someone tossing a beanbag. You know,
Okay, so now you're playing with science, and I get it, Matt. I do. and yes, James, I
is your
get
want.
it.
Well, it's a cliche, you know.
But going back to the beginning of our show, there are cliches that I like when it's done right,
Okay, yeah.
and I expect a good laser in my laser battles.
Let's call it a convention. It's become
is
a
more-
convention.
yes.
yeah, that's true.
Okay.
That's true.
How about this one? This is one I think we've kind of discussed before, but it's a horror one. Usually a horror. It could be science fiction too, I guess. But it's so now you've just survived the Amityville horror or poltergeist or
Yeah.
whatever. You've seen that the supernatural exists. You have and it happened right in front of you, right?
your face.
And now here's the end of the
Proof.
movie, and everyone's having a laugh and talking about, well, where are we going to dinner? And and like that experience hasn't changed you at all. Like the minute you get out of the house, you're like, holy fuck, it's real.
Like Satan has manifested
isn't that
itself
Yeah, and then
normally-
you just kind of shake it off.
Wait.
But isn't that normally the end of the movie where you're not going to see how they react to
Wait.
the rest of their life?
Wait a minute.
Well,
Wait,
the rest
Like
of their life.
Poltergeist? Like he takes the TV
Hey.
and puts it out in the...
that's a great moment.
Yeah.
That's a
I like
we
that
don't see
one.
how he lives his life until the sequel.
Well,
Or
but
the,
I,
the
I'm
sequel.
trying to get back to Matt though. So
And I'm not even saying that
No,
movie
no,
in
I know,
particular.
I know,
I'm saying
but I'm
that
trying to-
type of thing.
so the thing that you don't like is that it's towards the end of the movie when after all this shit has happened to you,
Everyone's too normal.
and so it's so what do you expect people
Making a
to
shell shock.
I want to see them fucked up. I
Right,
want to
right.
see them shell shocked. I want to
Okay.
see the horror in their eyes.
Yeah,
Well,
that's good visual.
Yeah.
Well, I would say you have to go by
Hey,
movie
watch
by movie.
the end of Wolf Creek. There's a fucked up person for you.
Okay.
Survive
So that's a
something.
good
Or Texas
example.
Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Texas Chainsaw.
She
Yeah,
goes
which-
nuts.
Yeah, that's not fun at all, Mark.
Yeah, it doesn't really have the ending that was satisfactory.
I'm just saying,
you know?
catatonic is not a great thing to show for too long.
Well,
Not for too long.
But it
No.
depends. You know, there's some great Twilight Zone. I mean, the one with William Shatner on the plane, the
Nightmare on
20,000
I mean, he's taken off. He's like in a straitjacket.
That's
I mean,
a very good example.
and so it all depends on how these people are portrayed at the end. I mean, I get it too, Matt. When you're seeing them kind of go off, going la-di-da.
Everyone's a little too
Yeah.
blasé
Yeah, but
about it.
I disagree in that I don't see that. I don't see after all this craziness, someone says, "Who wants burgers?" You know, but
Who
I don't
wants
see
pie?
the
In the bad, I've seen a lot of movies where it's kind of like that, where
Life goes
everyone
back
is a
to
little,
normal?
Yeah,
Okay.
Life goes a little too back to normal.
My point is, I don't see that enough to make that a cliche. But
We've seen a lot of movies,
But I
a lot
like.
of shitty
You know
ones.
what? I think you're right. But I think like the end of Howling, where she
yeah.
turns into the werewolf.
Yeah.
And the last, Dick Miller, of course, is there, and one of the lines is like, "Mommy, the news lady turned into a werewolf," so they're playing around with it.
Right, right.
That's the part to me. Like once the craziness happens, they go back to like no one's gonna believe it.
Right.
Well, and then we get kind of into like we talked about American Werewolf in London and the use of humor in that movie,
Right.
and that's realistic because sometimes when you're faced with something so incredible, you deal with it with humor.
Right, right.
That's how I've dealt with the
that goes back-
supernatural in my life.
That goes back to Mark when you were saying about the Thing, like the holy fucking, like
Yeah.
you got to be fucking kidding
Kidding
me.
me, yeah.
Like that's the perfect line to,
Right.
if you would experience that.
That's how people talk.
And
Right.
it gets a big laugh because that's the most tension in the theater,
Right.
Right.
And it just releases that.
How about how about this one? Like this one kind of bothers me sometimes with vampires, especially modern.
Now you're
modern,
in my, now
modern
you're in my
vampires.
wheelhouse, man.
Okay,
You're in my
like,
wheelhouse now.
Especially kind of starting with Hammer.
I was going to say Twilight.
I'm gonna
No.
get another shot.
Just like sloppy blood drinkers.
Oh, that's
What?
funny.
No, but that's no. The thing about it, if Mark, when you take a drink of tequila, do you go blah blah? Is it going down your throat, onto your clothes
the
and down your
sound-
chin? No, I'm saying is like
It's all
why
over
do they
your
always
mouth.
have to be? It's
always messy.
They ruin their
I have an
clothes
answer-
every
I
time.
have an answer for you because, like, I know there's tequila at the liquor store, but sometimes I finally got blood. Blah blah.
Yeah, but it's like always
You know,
like
blood store you
like,
go to.
They sort of
Except
lose
True Blood.
control.
I
Is that what you're
guess,
saying?
yeah.
Okay,
The
okay.
female vampires,
Yes.
they always end it with all over themselves.
Yes.
Which, but like,
All
whereas,
over their
Taking away
bare
my
breath.
best sexual fantasies.
right? But like, whereas like,
Yeah,
what's the
you at Stengard, man. She's real. She's a real sloppy blood drunk.
What's the Amicus film though? Where the Amicus is it Beyond from Beyond the Grave or Tales from the Crypt, where the restaurant is full of
Vault of Horror.
Vault of Horror. The restaurant's full of vampires, but in that one I love because they string the guy up.
Have you seen that?
By the way, these people are not even using computers. This is all from their head.
That's true.
They string the guy up
Yeah.
and they stick a spigot in his neck and they
Oh, you should see
drink
this.
from it. So it's
Yeah.
nice and tidy
yeah.
and they
Okay,
just take a drink.
Yeah.
They're not splurring
no,
everywhere.
no.
And
And
like,
the guy, he has just killed his sister.
yeah.
And he goes into the restaurant. The restaurant was closed earlier, but then he goes, and now it's open because it's nighttime. And he sits down there, and they're like, "How are your clots?" Like, my clots, your blood clots. He's like,
It's like a restaurant
it's
for
and
vampires.
it's a restaurant for vampires.
Yeah. But Sean, I just want to say this.
Vault of Horror?
At first,
Vault of Horror,
Vault
yes.
of Horror. At first, I was thinking about this, and gee, Sean, I think you're right. You bring up a good point. But then I thought to myself, now wait a minute, Sean. Have you ever bitten someone on the neck to drink their blood?
Well, no, not recently.
Okay. Now,
Right.
You devil.
I think it can be a messy thing, you know. I mean,
Yeah,
but
probably the more unrealistic cliche is 2 little bite marks with no mess.
yeah, I would think there'd be like. Have you ever
depends
been
on how
like,
you do it? That's
bit-
why. Well, Nosferatu, I always thought was a very clever design because he has the 2 fangs right in the
In the
beginning. You
front.
can like get right in there and kind of
Yeah.
start
But
sucking.
here's a question that I've always had about the vampire thing because it was never entirely clear to me. Is it like a rattlesnake Do you suck the blood from your teeth, or
No.
the fangs
No.
just make the hole
They
and
make
then you
the hole.
suck
Make
from
the
the
hole.
hole?
Yeah,
You-
they
you-
make the
Because I
hole.
think that would be a better designed vampire.
Yeah, I think
You
you're right.
have the
You're right.
holes right in the teeth.
Yeah, and also the other thing is what would get me a little bit is, I mean, if you got to drink the blood, it's like you can't just bite and come up and go, ah. You got to go,
flowing.
you bite, and you got to keep
you
saying-
either drink all of it or
would
you dr- yeah.
But come on, Sean. I mean, they do that for us. They're doing it for us. They want to show us. They want to give us the titillation of,
I think it's
the
more-
blood all around
sure.
the mouth.
But also orgiastic too.
Yeah, and you know what? Yes, orgiastic.
I think it's more when it's like the sophisticated vampire.
Yeah.
But whereas werewolves are animals
they're
and they would make a mess.
they're fucking
But
slobs,
sometimes if a
you know?
vampire is more
Yeah.
the urbane, sophisticated vampire, you wouldn't expect.
Have you ever
him to-
seen a dog eat its dog food and it gets
Yeah,
food all
sure.
over its mouth? That's
Yeah.
what I see a werewolf
Right.
do.
It depends. I guess it depends on the how they depict the vampires. Is it more animalistic or more human?
It doesn't bother me like it bothers you. I'm sorry.
I'm not saying it bothers me. It's just that it's something
Well,
you
you're
always
saying
see.
it's a
They have to do their laundry a lot.
What's the
because they're
40
always
Days of
getting-
Night or what?
Yeah, yeah,
that
that's a
one?
good one.
Yeah.
In that movie, they're vampires that they suck blood, and then for the rest of the movie, they have blood just splattered on their face,
Yeah.
just walking around.
Like, that's
Now
ridiculous.
That's
I'm
absurd.
blanking on the title. What's the Swedish vampire film they remade?
Let the right one in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's a very clean vampire.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the Swedes.
But I would think, but you see, I would think a vampire would be clean. No, I don't think. See, it makes no sense to
well,
me
unless
that
it's
he
trying
would
to cover
have,
its tracks and keep everything.
No,
you know.
well, no, I
Mystery.
would think that a vampire. I mean, it's like when you go to Foster's Freeze and you get like a vanilla ice cream. No, why are you laughing at me? Listen, when you take the ice cream.
The analogy, possibly.
Have you not eaten a giant vanilla frosty
I
cone
love Frosty
before?
Freeze.
No,
So-
they have this thing there. Was it called napkins?
Yeah, but see, that's just it. That's just it, Mark. That's my point.
Put your finger down.
But Mark, that's my point. I would think that a vampire would
Right.
do. A vampire would, if he does the
a
blood, he
bib,
would
but maybe a
use-
bib.
No, not a bib. He'd
No,
use a
the
sleeve.
thing in here, the
yeah,
a handkerchief in his sleeve.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But
His-
to
his
just
blood
go,
cloth.
I just sucked all his blood and I've got all over my face, and it's like
Yeah.
you are a fucking slob.
Wet
you know?
naps.
Maybe it's a
yes.
series of wet
yes.
naps.
if you're the more subhuman minions of Dracula, I mean, I can see you being more like you're more.
Oh, you
don't care.
you
know.
wouldn't do that. If you were a minion, you'd go up there and you wipe Dracula's face
No,
or vampire's face. You do that?
No, I'm saying you would be more sloppy if you were like more just the minions. Whereas if you're the head vampire, Honcho, or Dracula, you're going to be a little more
Like if you're a
neat,
new vampire,
maybe.
if you
Yeah,
made a
or-
new
yeah.
vampire,
Yeah.
I you know what?
You
If
know,
I were a new
I'm just saying.
vampire,
The vampirelings.
I would not leave blood all over my face.
Yeah.
It would
No,
come.
yeah,
I
yeah.
would
Be a
wipe
very
it.
neat vampire.
Yeah,
No, I would.
yeah, I can
would.
see
Be
that.
the
You-
Felix Unger of vampires.
yeah, I can see that.
And you know what we could
Felix
do
Unger
is
was asked to remove himself with his coffin. This came from his wife.
check this.
He showed up at the coffin of his friend
when you
Oscar
had,
Madison.
When you had a victim, we could
There's
seal
dirt in here.
Could seal him in plastic, and that would save him.
That's
preserve
true.
him.
That's true. You could,
Huh?
right. There we go.
All right.
Just take all the air out and be like airtight.
So what do you think? Should we do any last
Yes,
final
because you know what
thoughts?
I've learned
Yeah,
about
yeah.
this, Matt, is we could go on and on.
Yes, we
There's
could.
so many cliches.
we
But
could.
why don't we do one more little lightning round?
Yeah, what do you got?
Do all villains have to be British in science fiction movies?
Yes.
I guess ever since,
Yes,
ever
they
since
do.
Star Wars, I'd like to see one science fiction movie where the heroes were British and the villains were all American. That's what
There
I'd
you
like.
go.
I
to
like
see.
to see.
What are you trying to say about our country?
How about if the villain was from the Bronx? That's never been
Yeah, I'd
done.
love that. I would love
Hey,
that.
what are you
See?
doing? I can talk to the aliens all night. I still
Yeah.
choose not to.
Hey, I'm your father.
Capiche?
I'm your father.
I would pay so much to see that.
All right.
Look,
Okay.
you stupid. You stupid. Look.
Yeah.
I'm your daddy. I fucked your mother.
Okay.
Look at me. Look at you.
All right. Okay. This is very funny. This is great. Okay. Here's a cliche. Here's a cliche that I'm not the big fan about because I know anytime this happens, you know that something's going to happen, and that's
Okay.
when you're together as a group and someone says, "Hey, let's split up. Let's."
Oh,
here,
yeah.
you
Sure,
guys
sure,
go."
yeah.
And I'm like,
Good.
Don't just, you know what? Just stay together as a group.
Yeah,
I
all
think
the
you have a
time,
better
right.
chance of survival. I mean, what can be gained by splitting up? Well, we
But
can
when-
cover more. No, I'm just saying.
That's another cliche
that's a
that when they do
cliche.
stay together, where's Mike? There's always that.
right.
I prefer that over the
Okay.
splitting up. So that's
There
my-
was one. Speaking of, I don't remember which sequel it was. I do remember there was one funny moment there in one of the Scream sequels though, where that happened. That was kind of funny, where there's like 5 or 6 people, and they're all like, just if he's all stick together, nothing can happen. And suddenly this ghost face pops out, and it goes out. That was pretty funny. I forget which one. That was pretty good.
That's good. Well, now, of course, to split up, you have to be in that place in the first place.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
yes.
my problem is, why are you there?
Yeah.
You know, like Friday the 13th, when you got the weird guy that goes, it's a cursed place. You know, let's go home. Just go home. Okay.
It's a death curse.
It's a death curse. Yeah, the minute you go through the town and everyone's staring at you with the weird lights, like, you know what? We're going home.
Yeah,
I am
turning
not
around.
going to stay here.
Yeah.
That's another cliche. Is like all the kids in the neighborhood know that's the creepy house. Don't ever go in that house, and the
Right.
person in the house is a nice person.
Oh no, yeah, that's right. But yeah,
Right,
it's a
right.
gentle giant, or
Yeah, yeah.
right, yeah. Oh, that's a great one.
Oh, the one brave kid that knocks on the door, and the woman answers the door. She's like sweet as can be.
I was told you were a witch. No, I'm just a drunk.
Sean, what about you? You got the last one
Maybe
here?
it's not a cliche,
Oh.
but you said witch. It's like the burning of witches that aren't witches. They're just people, and there's never that float. If it float, that's just like you know what? No, that's a no-win situation.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a too real cliche.
We're going to do
the way,
that
yeah.
more in our witch episode.
By the way, favorite witch movie, Conqueror Worm is my favorite witch
fantastic.
hunter movie.
Yeah,
Yes,
Michael, Michael,
Michael Reeves.
Michael Reeves. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Great film.
Just
Michael Reeves.
atmospheric,
Great
as all
and
get out.
very grim, very grim and realistic.
And they threw in that Edgar Allan Poe poem.
Well, that's the American
just to
version.
get people in,
Just to get the name.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
right.
My favorite witch one, Burn Witch Burn.
Love that
Love it.
woman.
Yeah.
So good, so good.
Oh, like Christopher Lee again.
Yeah. Well, I also throw in Horror Hotel if we're talking Christopher Lee.
That
Yes.
Yeah, you're thinking
What?
of Christopher. No, yeah. You're
Oh,
thinking,
I was thinking. Oh, I thought you
You're
know what?
thinking of the woman from Horror Hotel with Christopher
Oh.
Lee, right?
Yeah.
Elizabeth
Witch-
Selwyn.
Yes.
Yes, very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's great.
Burn Witch Burn is with Peter Wingard.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
fantastic.
sorry.
Yeah.
So
And
we're
he's
not
the
gonna-
professor in the town, and his
skipped-
wife is secretly a witch and protecting him.
Yeah.
It goes back to Catholics and pilgrims, and that black and white outfits are just creepy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to have
Yeah.
you back for our witch
Our
episode.
Pilgrim episode.
Our pilgrim episode.
Which
For
we're going to
Thanksgiving.
record right after this.
Burn her.
Sean, do you have one?
This is one that is probably more with modern action films that you just see all the time now. Physical fighting between two people in which neither person would survive after 5 minutes. Like just the fighting, realistic action fights now where they just beat the shit out of each other and they would either have been knocked unconscious or be dead after, just,
Where you watch a real fight and someone gets hit 3 times and it's done.
Yeah, right. It's just like it's like if it's an action sci-fi film or one of the new Star Trek movies, just you're bludgeoning yourselves, and it's just there's
The only
no
time
way
I
that you would.
forgive it is They Live.
Is that because it's a horror film?
No, it's when it's supposed to be regular people, like superhero movies. Fine, I
Right.
go for it. But
Yeah.
when you're just supposed to be a regular person with any kind of powers, and you're just in a 10-minute fight, throwing furniture on top of each other, flying over cliffs, and you're still fighting. It's just it's
Like
hard.
any
But
one
I'm
of the
saying-
James Bond movies or Jason
The more
Statham.
recent reasons,
Yeah.
At least you should
Yes.
lose a few teeth. You get hit like that.
Right, not just like the little cut on the forehead, which
yeah.
is right.
As opposed to The Getaway, where Steve McQueen hits Sally Struthers and she goes down like that.
Yeah. It did seem like in the 70s you had more realistic fights.
the best.
Yeah.
Like just more. Yeah, you just kind of bought them. Like also, like not
Better
everybody.
stuntmen. Now it's CGI, but the stuntmen really worked their asses off back then.
Right, but also everybody kind of had normal builds back then. Now everybody is so
Yeah.
pumped and their sculpted bodies.
Because
which-
they're told 6 months before,
Exactly.
you're going to be with your shirt off in
Right,
this film,
but
and
like-
then you get a
Right.
trainer.
But not everybody.
And that's why you
right.
see on the beach in the summer when everybody just like, fuck it, we're not making a movie. Krispy Kreme.
right.
My
that's
cliche is, maybe horror and anything, is like when you can finally kill the person, and that's when you're out of the bullets.
right.
Click, click. Oh, and they look at the gun like it's the gun's fault.
And,
Yeah, and then it goes off in their face.
And
And
you
you throw the gun.
Throw the gun at the person. Like, what does that do?
Did you have the joke about Superman? Was that
No,
the one?
no.
I can't remember where I heard it first.
I know
But the classic one where it's
Sounds
like,
like-
George Reeves Superman.
it's a classic
and he'd
Superman
be,
TV yeah.
There would be a bad guy shooting him, and he's got his chest out, and then they'd throw the gun at him, and he'd flinch.
Yeah.
What? Not in the face.
He died.
yeah.
Superman, by the
man.
way, George Reed, they had the worst non-lookalike stuntmen for him. Like, there was a guy with a 5 o'clock shadow.
Worse than Star Trek,
Right.
though? Star Trek had some pretty bad stunt people.
It
The
did.
original Trek,
It
yeah,
did.
it
It
did.
did.
They didn't
Yeah.
know we could freeze frame.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Now Blu-ray.
Blu-ray.
Yeah.
and,
HD.
But we're gonna save that for our Star Trek episode. Our
We
new
did
Star-
one.
I know we're gonna do another one.
Do you ever ask your guests what they would like the listeners to do after the?
Actually, what I would like to do is I want to thank you so much for being with us.
How about that? We're going to thank you.
And I want to know, is there anything going on that our listeners should know
Know
about?
about.
Yeah, are you working on anything
I'm
right now?
still going through. I'm going to go with horror, and I'm going to say just for fun, not a plug, because you don't make money from this, but for fun, because I have a lot of time on my hands, and I'm going to show this to you guys after the show.
Okay.
Is I made a tribute to horror using the song "Enter Sandman" from Metallica.
Nice.
and it's on YouTube, and I think it's the best homage to horror films.
Oh, that's so cool.
Awesome.
Okay, so
So it's Mark Pitta at YouTube, and just enters horror montage, you just find horror montage, enter Sandman.
Awesome.
So horror montage, enter
Enter
Sandman,
Sandman, something like that,
on
yeah.
YouTube, and that'll
Mark
take them.
Pitta.
Hopefully,
YouTube.
but if it's somebody else's there's a lot of Enter Sandman.
Okay,
but
so
mine is dedicated to horror.
They could, or
Cool.
can they do like
Awesome.
Mark?
and there is something that I'm so proud of. You know, again, I do it for fun. If anybody, say in Hollywood, is listening, I would like to do the death montage for the Oscars. I think I'm really good at editing. I would like to do the in
To Enter
memoriam.
Sandman?
It's
Oh my God!
it's actually called
There's in memoriam with Enter
yeah,
Sandman.
yeah, I think that would be better. Say the Death March. I mean,
Now I lay me down to sleep.
Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Gene Wilder.
I predict you guys. I just want to put that out there because I'm just proud of it.
Cool,
So
awesome.
I don't want to plug any shows, but if I get like 100 hits, and maybe
Yeah.
you guys would actually know how many are listening by the hits.
All right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
We'll hit ya.
What are your analytics like? How do you know how many listeners you have?
We have graphs.
We have
and
so many,
statistics
but
and-
this isn't about us. We want to know about you. So, but you also do stand-up comedy around the country, though.
Yeah, but I don't know what to plug, so don't worry about it.
No, but if someone was interested, do they type in?
Mark Pitta, Google me. Just forget that whole lawsuit thing. That's expunged. That's the sad thing. The sad thing is you do something creative and
Yeah.
it rocks, and then you go to YouTube, blocked in certain countries, because
Yeah.
you're using a
Right, right.
Metallica song. I would love Lars Ulrich to watch this because I think it's the best use
Well,
of Enter Sandman.
We're, yeah.
Awesome.
We'll
Yeah.
see if we
We'll
can
see
make
what
that
happens.
happen.
He's a
Yeah.
Bay Area guy.
Hope springs eternal.
But I do these things late at night, and at the end, I did spell Metallica wrong. I didn't in the beginning, but at the end, I was so tired.
Can you
but
fix it?
Maybe they spelled it wrong.
I believe you would be blown away by it.
All right.
There are certain things in it where you go like those two shots together, I would never have thought of, and yeah.
Well,
Cool.
Mark, I will check this out.
We will. And we order you to watch it as well, listeners.
Well, thank you again, Mark. This is
Yes.
so much fun.
Awesome, Mark. This has been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a guy, I didn't know what the topic was.
Man.
Hey, man, you
rocked
could
with it.
roll.
Yeah.
You could roll with it.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Did
a lot
you,
of fun.
You had fun, Mark? You'd come back?
But if I can get home, I don't think you should. There's a new phrase. Don't do monster party and drive. That's the new phrase. Watch
We
your
got your
intake.
Uber.
We got your, yeah.
Time for a listener shout out?
Shout out!
This will go to.
Can you read that?
I'm not reading. This comes from memory.
He's reading off a grain of rice.
This goes out to Scott Tipton.
Scott Tipton!
Scott is a copywriter and design consultant at Toynami Toys. Sorry.
Oh,
I love Toynami.
He's also
Godzilla.
he's also a freelancer at IDW Comics.
Oh,
and he
awesome.
was responsible for the Planet of the Apes Star Trek crossover. He was
Oh,
one of the
that was
co-writers
good.
on it.
Is that right?
Scott, you did that?
Scott,
Yeah, he
Scott?
must know. Of course, he must know Dana then, because Dana did all the
Yeah, he did some
introductions.
Yeah, I'm sure. Scott actually attended our Creature Features event that we had recently.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you, Scott.
And he was one of the people attending who bought a cap. He bought a Monster Party cap.
Awesome.
Holy fuck!
And he thought we were amazing, didn't he?
He did. And he recently opened his own comic shop called Blast Off Comics here in LA.
cool.
So those here in the LA area should go check out
Yeah, we'll
Blast
check
Off.
it out.
We'll check
area
it
is
out
in?
too.
What area is it in?
Blast Off Comics is at 5118 Lancashire Boulevard.
All right.
in LA.
Scott,
right.
It's my neighborhood.
I'm going to go there.
Well, we'll all go there.
yes.
Scott, we're going to come visit you.
Yes.
we will.
Thank you,
Yes, we
Scott, for listening. We appreciate your support.
Thank
Yes,
you,
we
Scott.
do.
Let's
Right.
also remind our listeners that you can find us on Facebook and YouTube at Monster Party TV, on Twitter at Monster Party HQ, also Instagram Monster Party HQ. We are now on Google Play Music also. For those of you who have Androids, if you're listening to us on iTunes, please take a moment and write a review. We would love to hear from you. Also want to remind our listeners that our trip to Japan video is now up on YouTube, so you should check it out.
Our
It is
epic
great.
trip.
It is awesome.
It's great. And we're
heartwarming. It's exciting.
It's magical.
It is.
It's-
Can I just say one thing? And if you want to play a little drinking game, pour yourself a little piece of sake and take a shot every time you hear the word magical.
Yes, we say it a
The
lot.
trip was indeed magical.
you're going to get pretty
It will
hammered.
kill you.
No. Well, okay, maybe not a shot of sake. but-
And let's remind our listeners that you can get a Monster Party cap at our eBay store, which is Monster Party Store.
Yes, and it's a high quality cap.
Yes.
It's
With
nice.
how many
Nice
stitches?
workmanship.
Yes, beautiful workmanship. The stitch. It's like over 17,000 stitches.
It's not
in
your
that
typical cliched cap.
no.
Oh, it's
Pe-
out of the box.
When people see that cap, they go, "That is a great cap."
And we
right.
also
Yeah.
throw in extra swag like a Monster Party flyer.
or
and,
you never know.
you never know
You
what you're
never
going
know.
to
Yeah,
get.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Grab bag.
You might find a trope in there.
I could be in the box.
Yes. Yeah. I want a PITTA in the box.
And you've been listening to Monster Party, a presentation of the Fangoria Podcast Network. It's produced by Matt Weinhold and executive produced by Thomas DeFeo and Ken Hanley of Fangoria Entertainment. For press opportunities, advertising inquiries, and information about Monster Party, contact Ken at fangoria.com.
On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong!
Try to avoid horror and sci-fi movies with cliches. Or as Gregory Peck would put it,
We've got to kill the baby.
I thought he was going to
That's
say
perfect.
I thought he was going to say trope, but that's good.
that was perfect.
Oh my god. Hey.
I was punched out already.
We'll wrap this up here.
You're doing great, by the way.
We got you a ride if you need one.
No.
You sure? Okay. You're close by, right?
Do you walk?
15 minutes.
Do you want us
okay.
to drive you? We can drive you.
Definitely driving you.
No, I'm just not going to leave Matt's
Can you
house.
read that?